2 months, I think. I think it's been 2 months. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be interrupted like in a bit. I really wanted to play more of this in like the last few months, but yeah, Mario and Luigi kinda happened. Unfortunately. So yeah, it's a little bit later that I get to this than I wanted to. It also doesn't help that we were just kind of stuck in slice of life mode, it seems. Where is it? Book. We got book. Let's just do a chapter and see how far I get, I guess. Yeah. New sub now. I mean, I say that unless this chapter is like 20 minutes long, then that's going to be weird. But let's hope it's not the case. All right, I need to turn on the audio here. I forgot about that. I do want to finish this though. But on the other hand, I don't think I'm going to stream the likes of Tsukihime and the re-release of Fate Stay Night, because those are very long from what I've heard, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to stream those because that's going to take forever, really. So I think I'm just going to play this on my own time. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry if anyone was looking forward to those, but I'm just going to do that in my own time. Also, digital scales my voice every time I play it. That also doesn't help. It also kind of makes me scared going back to this. December, the month when even monks were busy at work. Just the culmination of the year. And perhaps through all the put of tasks built up through the season, the month always seemed pass by in the blink of an eye. I mean, December does always go fast, I feel. It was a day like any other day in December. Though none of them were the wiser that the others were doing, Aoko, Alice and Sojiro had spent the day attending to their own affairs. And then the accident happened. It's the kind of vibe I'm getting here. Is the audio? I'm not hearing anything.
Nani?
No, there we go. What is this? Aoka kept the urge to kill out of her voice, but a menacing tone still reverberated in the room. Right away with the classical music, alright. The sunroom was often used to dine in when the weather was nice, and so it overlooked the courtyard. It was a room decorated with a high-quality furniture and upholstery befitting an historic Western-style mansion. No, I'll get to that later, don't worry. The fusion of Chinese chip and nail aesthetics and the traditional English Georgian elegance cost even Aoko a common to think twice about doing anything aristocratic on the grounds. Truthfully, she was sickened by the flagrant waste of money, but none of it was paid out of her pocket, so she could have cared less what the purchasers spent the money on. Three unbelievably out-of-place offerings sat atop the lavish sunroom's table as if enshrined. Now that's just food. In stark contrast to the room, they appeared like meals prepared by aliens.
Sojiro, これ、なんか新しい冗談。
Sojiro, is this your idea of a practical joke? Aoka's trembling clenched and unclenched as he questioned the one responsible for today's menu. The clock struck 9 in the evening. The nice executive chief nodded dutifully, eager to explain.
これはうちの会社の新製品。
It's a new product for my workplace.
パチモン臭いが、中身は本当にパチモンだ。
I do hope the audio of this is fine
で
because...
も俺は本物よりいいと思う。
Shoujo, shut up. Because I had to change stuff around for the Donkey Kong stream, which was kind of weirdly balanced, so I hope this is not going to be... Also, my OBS looks weird, and I'm not entirely sure why. Like, the audio sliders look squished. Or is it just because I haven't seen it for like a week? Is that what's going on here? I don't think this is fine. Konami said it looks and tastes fake, but honestly I think it's better than the real thing.
そんなことより評価すべきは、社内販売なんで1個40円を切る低価格だ。
Besides, they're only 40 yen each after this company discount. That is very fucking cheap. Like, I always like to say that like 100 yen is like 1 euro. Even though with the current yen crisis, it's like... I think it's like 50 cents for us, really. But 40 yen, it would be like 4 cents? That's way too cheap for food. That can be good.
すごいぞ。卵をつけても60円とか。
It's still alright. Even with the egg on top, it's still only 60 yen or so. That's way too cheap. The corner-cutting chef seems pleased with himself. Oh, go on to the grumble in, but the real still has her appetite.
そう う、よかったわね。
Well, isn't that nice for you?
ところで、今日の夕飯はどこにあるの？
Now, where's tonight's dinner? Well, that goes the doorbell, so be right back already, chat. I'm sorry. Alright, I'm back. If there ever was any grounds to restart the stream, it would be now, because I barely even got into anywhere before this interruption happened. Give me a second. Chef Soju thought for a second or two and then clapped his hands together in realization.
青崎、そんなに食べると太るよ。
I don't think that's a problem here. Ozaki, and you know if you eat too much you'll get fat.
つまりこれが夕飯だって言い張る気なのね、あんたは。
So what are you telling me is, this slop is what you call dinner?
言い張るも何も、これ以外用意していない。
No complaints, I'm not making anything else. The two stood there glaring at each other. Oko gave off an air that she said she would rather die than eat his food. Soju was convinced that she could capitulate eventually. He even considered chiding her for being a picky eater. As usual, the two could not see eye to eye.
いや、
I love you.
私
You
は
love
食べな
each
いから
other,
ね、
chat.
こ
No
んな
worry.
の。
No way. There's no way I'm eating whatever this is.
お姫様みたいなこと言うんじゃない。だいたい今日の夕食代はこれで3名様200円未満なんだぞ。
Don't be such a spoiled princess. Besides, tonight's dinner only costs 200 yen for the three of us. That's 2 euros or $2, chat. Yeah, this can be good. Soju puffed his chest out at a penny pinching prowess. Alice alternated a gaze between the two quarreling roommates and the strange food before, which also I've never seen before. She remained more a mere bystander in all of this. Is this like the first time these people see, like, it's like instant noodles or something like that?
信じられない。一人60円の食事ってあんた一体いつの生まれよ。
Unbelievable. A 60 yen meal for one person? What year is it?
このご時世、新しくできた牛丼屋ですら贅沢に原価上げてるわよ、バカ。
200 yen, you can't even buy a meal's worth of sawdust for that. Yeah, exactly. These days, even a cheap beef bowl place has spent more on ingredients.
青崎、1ヶ月の食費が3万円だけであんな好き勝手な食生活をしていたら、俺が君たちに殺される前に全員が飢え死ぬと思うんだ。
Amazaki, if you eat the way you wanted with only 30,000 yen for food each month, I'm pretty sure we would all starve to death before you two could kill me.
確かに昨日のアリスの肉料理は素晴らしかった。
I mean, sure, the meat Alice cooked yesterday was really
グ
something.
ラム700円から肉は種類が変わるんだって感動した。
I was impressed at the difference in quality at 700 yen per ounce.
生協の果汁 100% ジュースだってちょっと本気でバカにできるもんじゃないと反省したよ。
Even 100% juice from the co-op made me rethink the idea of fresh
け
food.
どあれが3日続いたらこの家はどうなってしまうんだい？
But if we keep eating like we have for the last 3 days, we'll go broke. Alice is not looking happy. Soju was making perfect sense for once. Fortunately, neither Oko or Soju noticed a silent self-disapproval coming from Alice. It's a good face,
そ
really.
の時はその時よ。
We'll cross that bridge when we come
そ
to
れに
it.
ね、昨日みたいなのはめったにないの。アリスはあんたの料理に触発されて柄にもなく頑張ったみたいだけど。
And I should note, a meal like yesterday's was a rarity, but maybe I should thank you, since your meals have inspired Alice to put some effort into hers for a change. With Oko's word, Alice closed her eyes. She might have been trying to quell her anger.
信じられない。
Alice disapproves. Fuck.
じゃあ今までどんな生活してたんだ青崎たちは。
You astonish me, you know. How did you even get by before me?
その時はそれぞれで何とかやってた
There's
わ。
still an annoying audio
飢え
crackle
死
on
に一
this.
歩手前ぐらいいい精神修行じゃない。
I really think it's either the filter that's causing that crackle or it's the just the recording for some reason. We made it work, thank you very much. Besides, living life one step from starvation keeps you on your toes. My brother's response left him speechless. Tell a story for another time, Soju remembered a warning from a certain vice president who had complained about a certain president, innocently bugging him to take her to lunch at the end of the month. But that was neither here nor there.
そんな昔のことより今のこと。
Oh, that was then, and this is now.
前に見せたあの腕はどこに行ったのよ、宗十郎。あれを見込んで今日の夕飯を任せたっていうのに。
Oh, those cooking skills you displayed before, Sojuro. That's the only reason I trusted you with today's meal. Out of everything, that seemed to be what ate Oko the most. The stir-fried yaki udon he had prepared previously had been very well received, and it even melted away Oko's morning grumpiness with one bite. Sergio had not seen fit to tell him that this was the only of the dishes that he had in his limited repertoire. For a bachelor, the ability to cook is as close as a superpower one could get. Being able to cook is underrated, chat. Do not forget that. That is true. 15 years into the future, it will likely become a highly desirable trait. See what I mean? Regardless, the misunderstanding and Lado could and also overestimate Sergio's culinary talents. Her ire finally made sense to Sojiro.
わかった。自腹を切るから出前を取ろう。作るにしても材料がないからな。
Alright, fine. We can order in. There's nothing here to cook anyway.
その代わり、それは回収する。
But only if you clean up. Oko basked in a victory. It was enough to seeing Sojiro's face as she went to fetch the delivery menu. Oko realized her misreading of him. But annoyed Oko most was the fact that such a little effort was put into the dinner. But to Sojiro, this dinner had not been about cutting corners, but rather about a meal that legitimately wanted to try. Oko ruminated on how it could probably pass for food for someone raised in the mountains. And then...
Alice, 何してるの?
Alice, what are you doing? Oko noticed Alice standing near the table, holding one of the bowls tightly.
もうそれはいいんだってば。
Would you put it down already?
宗十郎に返してきちんとした出前にしましょう。
I need to give those back to Sojiro as they're going to eat a proper meal. Despite Oko's word, Alice stood her ground, firmly clutching the bowl. In fact, she seemed to be embracing it.
これ、私のだから。
This one's mine. Alice's faint voice drifted across the sunroom. And just like that, the night's menu had been decided by majority rule. Oko's shoulders sank in disappointment at a lot that evening. Come to think of it, Alice was always peculiar about things she deemed hers. It was morning and there were 10 days left in December. While the rest of the city was preparing for Christmas festivities, Sojiro headed to his part-time job. Though it looked like it could snow at any minute, the tree-lined streets were busy with foot traffic. These days were particularly merry. Of course they're merry. Before Christmas. Christmas is a merry affair. Students on winter break spent their times hanging out with friends while they counted down the days into the holidays. Colourful Christmas cakes lined storefronts, placed like charms the ward of evil. Huge advertisements adorned the sides of buildings. The station plaza bustled with pop-up stalls. Chat, I already missed December. It's like it's been 2 months, but it's not even been 2 months. Like almost 2 months. But I already missed the fun of December, really. Sojiro stepped in out of the milling crowd into a phone booth. Aside from the winter wind, the inside seemed warm by comparison. The thought that it would actually be nice to have one in the mountains crossed his mind as he inserted the coin into the phone. He dialed the number from memory, his fingers pushing the keys with a somewhat practiced motion. After about 5 seconds, the phone began to ring. Chat, remember payphones? I don't think these things exist anymore. Do they? I've not seen one in ages. Another 5 seconds, another ring. 10 seconds had passed. He gazed through the window at the various signs of the surrounding buildings and marveled at the sheer number of people out and about so early. The number he had dialed was that of Tobimaru Tsukiji. The Tsukiji name was well known in Misaki as a distinguished landowning family going back generations. Incidentally, their residence was located in the neighboring town of Yoshigori. A kind elderly female voice finally replaced the ringtone. After a polite greeting, she handed over the phone to Sojiro's target. Target. Morning, Tobimaru. Hey, morning. He was still half asleep, so it sounded to Sojiro.
一つ相談があるんだけど、いいか?
I need to ask you something. You have a second. Speak. This response did not exactly inspire confidence in Sojiro, but he got right to the chase. It was a long pause. It was hard to read from his end of the receiver. This is what you wake me up for?
仲が悪けりゃ遊びに行け。機嫌を取りたきゃいいとこ見せろ。で、それが合わなきゃ早めに手を切れ。俺ができるアドバイスはそんなもんだ。
Listen here, Sojiro. If she's mad at you, take her out somewhere. Try to butter her up, show her a good time. If that doesn't do the trick, then cut her loose. What do you want me to say? With a piece, Tobimaru hung up. It may have been 10 in the morning to Sojiro, but after dealing with what seemed a 6 o'clock Tobimaru, all I could do was nod earnestly. He had a feeling his friend had just been trying to end the call, but deep down he knew that his advice was sound. After the phone ordeal, Sojiro finished up his shopping and returned to the mansion just before noon. He was greeted by the sight of Hoka and Alice sitting in silent gloom. They were always unsure of the circumstances. From the outside looking in, it seemed like the aftermath of an argument. It would be the first time. The silence was as deafening as a blizzard, or rather, the biting cold and stinging wind of it. One might also compare the drying wound to an enormous walk-in freezer. It would not be surprising to look up and see icicles hanging from the ceiling.
やっぱり今日もか。
And they're at it again. He felt like a zookeeper paying to see the raccoon and penguin at each other's throats. In fact, he had seen this literally happen the other day at his zoo janitor job, and now he glanced between them like a zookeeper trying to gouge the animal's temper. Needless to say, the silence meant that they were not fighting at this moment. Dinner served as a respite from the conflict. Sojiro was oblivious to the circumstances surrounding the quarrel, but the day in day out battles against the mysterious matrix clearly taking a toll.
もっともアリスはいつも通りだけど。
Not that Alice looks anything but grumpy. Across from the quiet and contemplative Aoko, Alice was reading an old book in her lap, as she was accustomed to. The book seemed somehow heavier than the others.
ただいま。煮詰まってるな、ここのところ。
Yeah, I'm misreading some mercy, but it still makes sense in context, I guess. Hello, looks like I just missed a discussion. He greeted him as he took off his coat.
煮詰まるぐらい事態が進んでるならまだ面白みもあるんでしょうけどね。
If only. Discussion implies progress.
今のご用よ、宗十郎。
You're way off, Sojiro.
Hmm?
Without quite knowing what Aoko was getting at, Sojiro quizzically tilted his hat. He told himself not to think too hard into it? He told himself not to think too hard into it, but only make him more curious. But it only made him more curious.
煮詰まってるってことはもうじき完成ってことでしょ。
In fact, we're not even close to
進
an
展がない
agreement.
って意味合いなら行き詰まってると言うべきね。
If anything, I say we've debated ourselves into a corner. Seemingly too preoccupied to scold Sojiro, Aoko waved her hand as shooing off an insect. Sojiro being Sojiro.
じゃあ言い直して。
Okay, let me start over.
いや、あれから進展はあったかい？
Hey you two, any progress since last time? Sojiro held his ground.
宗十郎には関係ないわ。
That's none of your business.
こっちの事情に関しては不可侵だって言わなかった？
What did I tell you? Major affairs are not for your ears. Her response was calm but pointed. Silliness was a weapon of choice, and today she seemed determined to swing it at will.
もちろん聞いてる。ところで、お昼はまだだろ？
Yes, I remember. Did you two eat yet? Sojiro chose to brush off Hoka's attitude. If Hoka's weapon was souliness, Sojiro's was blitheness? Oh, that's a word you don't really see much. He wielded just enough to make Hoka flinch.
どうしたの今日は？何かいいことでもあったわけ？
What's with you today? Did something nice happen to you? Sojiro shook his head.
まだなんだ。じゃあ、ちょっと提案がある。
Not yet, but I do have a proposal for you. He dug around in the pocket of his coat, which was now on a hanger. Hoka gave him a dubious stare while Alice's ears perked up at his upbeat tone.
実は今日、給料日だったんだ。
Oh
お
no,
金も入ったことだし、外に遊びに行こ
he's gonna lose all his money. Actually, today was payday, which means I have money. We should go out and do something. He spoke with a warm smile as he removed his wallet from his coat pocket. The other two did not know what to make of it.
宗十郎。
Sojiro. She wanted to take her exception to his bright mood, but found herself wrestling with the idea of reacting positively to it. After all, he was making a gesture of good faith and tried to make things better with what little funds he had. The thought itself was not a bad one. Well, there was always a chance that Alice would keep quiet until the slightest thing annoyed her, at which point she would ruin everything. Aoko wanted to accept his goodwill. However, she was not in the mood to walk around town with either of the two, nor was the timing ideal.
悪いけど今忙しいの。暇になったら思い出してあげるからしばらく我慢して。
Sorry, but I'm kinda busy. I'll take you up at some other time though, just remind me. Alice seemed to give the same response, though wordlessly. Sojiro was not about to be held back by the sullen mood.
う。忙しいって、ここで黙り合ってるだけじゃないか。
Busy doing what? Sitting here in silence?
徹夜漬けの時、気分転換は必要だって言ったのは青崎だろ？行き詰まったら回り右して戻らないとどこにも行けない。
Wasn't it you, Awazaki, that said a change of pace was important when working overnight? Sometimes you need to take one step back and two steps forward. Oh, am I? Soju spoke with unusual confidence as he drew 2 tickets from his wallet and slapped them on the table. At first glance they looked like advance tickets to a movie, but not quite. They were tickets to a famous aquarium. To get there, they would take a rapid train and a subway to a city several trains more modern than Misaki. More times more modern than Misaki. It has not only the brightest shopping mall in the prefecture, but also a multi-purpose auditorium, set to open next year, designed to host international conferences and state productions.
それと夜はメシアンでカレーでも食べてくれ。
Oh, I need some curry at Messian on me. Saying that, he slapped the 2 bills on the table as if he had struck it rich. It was Soju's turn to make dinner tonight, after all.
じゃあそういうことで。
Be seeing you. His business concluded, Soju returned his wallet to his coat pocket. It was in it Aoka realized that Soju had meant by be seeing you.
ちょっと待った。そういうあんたはどうするのよ。
You mean not coming with
今
us?
日はアルバイト。
After work tonight. Soju was almost too quick with his response, helping Aoka to see things for what they really were. Rather than Soju's benefit, his gesture was instead an attempt to ease attention to the build-up between Oko and Alice. Though if asked, both girls would tell you it was an unnecessary gesture. Still, for him to pay this much attention to the household, if anything, gave Oko a reason to reflect on her own immaturity. Oko glanced over to the still-seated Alice. At the same time, Alice speaked up at Oko from behind her book. They kept still, staring at each other.
私は構わないけど、今やれることは全部やってあるし。
I'll go if you go. I'm almost done with my book. Chat. Aquarium trips are usually a staple in Yuri stories. I guess this is just Yuri in disguise and Soju is trying to ship them. I see how this is going. He isn't a love interest after all. These two are.
そうね。そういうことならせっかくだし。
Okay, it seems ways not to. Look, I'm just joking, chat. I'm just joking. Aoka stood up from the sofa, resigned to his decision. Soju watched on as a satisfied smile on his face. Aquarius are justice. 20 minutes later, as Aoka and Alice were done getting ready, Aoka called out to Soju in the drawing room.
それじゃあ出かけてくるから、あんたもバイト。そうじろ?
Alright, we're leaving now. Soju? Soju was crouched in front of the television, and aware that the two had entered the room.
もしかしてビデオいじってるの?
Are you fiddling with the VCR?
あ
Oh,
あ、
yes,
ちょうどよかっ
the
た。
Sony TV.
青崎、これ
Oh, hey, good timing. How do I... Pausing his audiovisual struggle, Soju turned around. Oh no. They're cute, he thinks. He froze in shock, forgetting what he was about to say.
私たちお言葉に甘えて出か
Is
け
it
て
a
く
little
る
bit
け
too
ど、
chilly for
どう
December?
したのよ一体。棚の後ろに落とし物でもしたの?
I mean, I guess the sweater is fine, but those legs are quite exposed. Are you okay? Listen, we're taking you up when you're offering to go out. Did you drop something behind the TV? Soju appeared to have gone stiff. Aoka stared at him curiously. Joella suddenly nodded along with his bizarre reaction. She kept her thoughts to herself.
いや
No,
なんか
it just... Still gawking, his voice stuck in his throat. He was blissfully unaware that the shock he was experiencing was a direct result of his emotional state.
それじゃわからないってば。
Spill it out already.
まったく落ち着いてるくせに妙に挙動不審なんだから。アリスに煙たがられても仕方ないっていうか。
God, I wish your weird reaction made sense sometimes. Does Alice have something stuck on her face, or...? Alice looked on in silence. He was not confused, or in a daydream, that much you could tell, but his frozen look was by all accounts the first for Soju.
それで何かあったの?
So, what is it then?
ああ、いやこれなんだけど
This thing here. The audio is kind of loud here, but it's not that loud.
青崎、ビデオってどう使うんだ?
How exactly do I use it? Shaking his head to regain composure, Soju pointed to the VCR. The VHS player is set on the shelf beneath the TV.
何?
Remember video cassettes? I do. What? You want to record something? Naoko walked over and crouched next to Soju in front of the TV.
いや、木の実からビデオを借りたんだけど映らない。
No, I just borrowed a video from Konami, but it won't play.
まずテレビの電源が入ってない。
Well, for starters, the TV isn't turned on. Yeah, that'll help. I'm gonna click the TV screen flicker to life.
次、チャンネルを外線に合わせて。
Next, you have to switch the video input.
あら、意外にも真っ黒。木の実くんのことだからテープ頭から録画してると思ったけど。
That's weird. It's all dark. Knowing Konami, I'm surprised the video recording doesn't start from the very beginning. During this time period, videotapes are still rather expensive. Therefore, it was only natural for people to not want to waste a single second of the tape's 120-minute capacity. Yeah, they did have limits like that, didn't they?
割と趣味には気を使う性格なのね。じゃ、早送りっと。
Especially considering how serious about his hobbies. Oh well, you have to fast forward. I can pick the small remote up and quickly push the button marked forward. The VCR beeped in protest. Several clicks and first there was an empty whir from within the machine.
壊してないぞ、多分。
Don't look at me, I didn't break it. I think. The vast majority of people who say this are actually very prone to destroying electrical equipment, but that's a separate matter.
おまけにテープが入ってない。
There's no tape in here. As soon as the words left her lips, it all made sense.
テープ
Tape? Soju imagined an adhesive tape, clearly confused.
宗十郎、木の実くんから何か渡されなかった？
Soju, did Konami give you something?
渡されたけど、ほら、テーブルの上。
You mean the thing on the table? No, she should have been used to by now. She caught herself wondering if Soju was being stupid deliberately.
木の実くんが何て言ったか覚えてる？
Soju, what exactly did Konami say? Do you remember?
テープ貸してやるから、家に帰ったらビデオを見ろ、と。
Yeah, he said, I'll totally lend you this tape. When you get home, just watch the TV.
一番大事な言葉が抜けてたわけね。
Great, so you left out the most important part.
ああ、失望を通り越して怖くなるわ。
Like,
あっさり
technology is
順応して
confusing,
いる
come
よう
on.
に見えてこれだものね。どんだけ綱渡りな毎日送ってんのよ、あんたは。
Honestly, this is so sad it's almost scary. Just when I thought you were finally adapting, how do you make it through a day like this is a mystery to me. Exasperated, Oku fetched the tape in question. It was labeled Gaku Gaku Animal Kingdom African Adventure. That sounds interesting. Why, Twitch, why the fuck is Hillbilly getting flagged by the Automod? Like what? Huh? The reaction has been stopped because of race, ethnicity, or religion. Like, what? Twitch, what the hell are you smoking? What's wrong with Hillbilly? Jesus Christ. To Ogre is not hosting Konami down a level on the rating files she kept with the student council.
で、このテープをデッキに入れて再生すればいいの。爪は折ってないから、録画ボタンだけは押さないようにね。
Okay, you put the tape in the VCR and push play. The tab isn't broken, so just be careful. The tab isn't broken, so just be careful to not hit the record button.
爪とは
What's a tab?
ここ。テープの側面にへこみがあるでしょ。これをカバーしているのが爪。
Right here. See the indent on the side of the tape here? The tab is a little plastic cover.
これを切り取っておくと、もうそのテープは上書き録ができなくなるのよ。
If you snap this tab off, you can't record on the tape anymore.
そうね。例えるなら授業のノー
Just
ト。
bring the tab first. How can I explain this? Think of it like a notebook for class.
大事なものだから消しゴムで消えないようにフィキサチーフをかけたっていうか、ヒューマンエラーを物理的に防止するア
I
ナロ
actually
グな
didn't
防
know
御法ってわ
about
け。
didn't know about videotapes. It's like a seal just spray with base so it can be erased. Think of it as a physical barrier against some common human error. She inserted the tape into the VCR and handed the remote to Sojiro. Loud! Ah, fuck off Windows. No, don't want to update. Just a small interaction used a fair bit of Oku's patience. I've used up a fair bit of Oku's patience. Completely ignorant of Oku's feelings, Sojiro gleefully pressed the play button.
前から危なっかしいと思ってたけど、まさかここまでとはね。
Phew!
時代錯誤にも程がある。
Phew! I was afraid you weren't going to make it this far for a second there. That was a bit much, even for someone as out of place as you are.
あんた、山で何やってたの？空手家じゃあるまいし、熊を倒す修行でもしてたとか言わないでしょうね。
It's the bottom left of the interfacing if you're inserting it. I mean, I've used videotapes before, but I didn't know about that really. Like, yeah, we recorded some stuff. I think my dad still records shit, by the way. Like, he's very old in that regard. But yeah, I didn't know about that. What were you doing up in the mountains? Don't tell me you have some karate master training against Bass or something. Even Soju managed to pick up on Argo's rude tone and he frowned disapprovingly.
それはもしかして俺をバカにしてるのか
Was that an attempt to insult me?
心外ね。事実バカにしてるんだけど。
You mean just now or all the other times? Hoko answered unapologetically. On the TV, a crocodile is yawning mouth a bit.
そんなバカな話があるもんか。なんでクマを倒すために修行しなくちゃいけないんだ
Don't be ridiculous. How would you train against Bass? If you want to end up breaking it, you can always use some adhesive tape to get over it. Really? Really? That seems like an oversight. Or maybe just like a quick fix, I guess. Well then. Now, I don't think I will be seeing video cassettes in anytime real soon, so wouldn't be too worried about it. Hell, even DVDs and Blu-rays are starting to be phased out if it does companies, really. Always buy physical, chat. Always buy physical. The digital services can just remove whatever they want. So you turned about a TV and a half. Perhaps because of this rare outburst, as he turned face to face with the gaping maw of a crocodile on TV, he fell backwards in surprise. Cohen pursed her lips upon seeing this, delighted. It was relieving to see the boy disarmed.
けど青崎この機械ずいぶん埃が積もっているけど掃除はしていないのか
In the future, it was nice to me, so I could double check on accidental with the location of the tower. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten it anyway, so don't worry. Hey, Ozaki, these machines have gotten kind of dusty. Don't you clean them?
私はあんまり使わないし、アリスは見ないから今までほっぽってただけよ。
Why bother? I hardly ever use them and Alice doesn't watch TV.
ダメ元でトレーニング用に買ってもらったんだけど、飽きちゃった。イメージでどうにかできる問題じゃなかったっていうか。
I bought some exercise figures to train with, but I got bored of them. Who would have thought I'd actually need to do the exercises instead of just watching the damn thing? Spend extra money in case for your PC so that you have holes in front of an optical drive. Yeah. I skipped out on the drive for this PC that I have right now because I was, one, in a rush to get the PC because it broke down pretty unexpected, and two, just budget restraints really. I do have a USB drive that I can hook up, but I think it's only Blu-rays actually. I'm not sure if DVDs play on it. Ogre shrugged at the past superficially. And Soju was led to believe he had a lot of faults about modern life as VCRs would go out of fashion.
それじゃあ
I mean, they did eventually. Well then, we're off. Try not to burn the place to the ground.
バイト本当はないんでしょ
And in case you were wondering, I know you don't have work tonight. I've got a portable Blu-ray drive as well, pretty much all of them DVDs too. I mean, I don't really use them much, but just have it just in case. The main reason I got it is actually really stupid. Because I bought the Final Fantasy OST stuff. But those are all like Blu-ray discs for some reason. But yeah, you can put them on, you can put them in your PC and then you can like extract the zip files from it, so you just have like the MP3 files on your PC. That's like the main reason I got it. It's like really stupid, but I just wish it was a Blu-ray player that also read American stuff, because we have a little bit of an issue with that. We got a bunch of American Blu-rays and we can't play them off. We got 2 PlayStations, but you can't change the region on it. It's just really fucking annoying. One of these days we still need to get like an American Blu-ray player just to, like to watch an anime on it. It's really stupid, but stupid region locks. Can Blu-rays can just play video without piracy because of dumb legal stuff. Nah. Don't you love dumb legal stuff? Uncle walked out of the drawing room smiling.
Oh.
A grin was a cheap shot that left Soju speechless. As he scratched his cheek, he was reminded that he was not someone to be trifled with. This is what happens when Sony is the one who makes a format. Yeah, and Sony also said recently that they're going to stop making Blu-rays, so yeah, that's going to be fun in a few years' time. After watching the end of the drama between their housemates, Alice made for the reception area as well. Left alone in the room, Soju took a seat on the sofa. Well, it was certainly not easy making everything run smoothly around these parts. Until they came back, he could enjoy his crocodile watching in peace. Crocodile watching. Because the rest of this chapter is going to be the date with these two. Not date, outing. They took the subway from Misaki for 6 stations. From there they rode another 3 stops by express train. After about an hour, Oko and Alice arrived at Arisaka Station. Misaki City was a mixture of all the new architectures. Arisaka was a brand new town built in accordance with recent government ordinance. It was as though an entire town full of tall buildings sprouted up in the middle of nowhere. It was near the end of December, in the middle of winter break. Even the bustling plaza in Misaki City was compared to Arisaka in the evening. Whether it was a huge mall full of countless specialty stores, or the crowded multi-purpose auditorium, there really was something for everyone here. For that reason, beyond its local residents, Arisaka Station was crowded with people from far and wide.
へえ、あれが新しい演劇ホールか。県内最大のコンサートホールらしいけど、中はどうなってんだろう。なんか周りのビルより背が高くない？
Cool! That must be the fancy performance arts center. It's supposed to have the biggest concert hall in the prefecture. I wonder what it's like inside. Look at how much grander it is in the buildings around it. It's a construction site. They made their way to the aquarium, moving through the crowds. Oko might have been used to city life, but Alice was silently anxious. The people passing by must have thought this pillow girl was out of place, which Alice happened to agree with.
来年夏にはビッグアーティストも来日予定。で、ピンクトゥルーデが入ってない？ちょっとこれ日本初ライブよ、アリス。
Oh no, we got a fan here. Oh, it says a big artist is coming summer of next year. Oh my god, it's Pink Trudy! Alice, it says this is her first live appearance in Japan. Oko exclaimed, overcome excitement. This kind of folk rock band was right up Oko's alley, but naturally Alice did not seem very interested.
それよりセレモニーに予定されているポーランド楽団の方が驚きだと思うけど。
I'm more amazed by the Polish orchestra they invited to open for them. Is this music not allowed? I hope this is not allowed, chat.
随分とお金がかかっているようね。
This must be costing them a fortune. How incorrigible. Ah. Oko cursed under her breath before hurrying them along. Underneath the construction apparatus with the support of Koonji Group. Oh. Oh. The aquarium they were looking for was on the top floor of a massive building. No! No, why the hell do you put an aquarium on the top floor of a building? No, that's a very bad... But the water goes every... No, that's a bad idea. No, what kind of construction idiocy is this? Don't put it on the top of a building. Maybe it was because it was no longer a new attraction, or perhaps because it was the first floor cinema drew the crowd. With only a few people scattered around the entrance, the atmosphere inside was very calm. It wasn't quiet, but desolate, and far removed from the hustle and bustle outside. Perhaps we were going for a museum-like mood. Alice quietly caught her breath, staring in awe. She was like a child seeing the circus for the first time. Her eyes wide in anticipation and wonder.
お、気に入ったみたいね。よかったよかった。
And so the lady's liking, I see. Good, good.
宗十郎おすすめの物件は気難しいアリスさんのお眼鏡にかないましたか？
I guess Sojo's idea wasn't totally the mark then, huh? Oko found herself smiling as well. There was a certain joy in seeing Alice's wonderment.
別に屋上にある水族館が珍しいだけ。
Not really. I just find rooftop aquariums to be kind of novel. According to the guide on the wall, the entrance to the aquarium is nearly as big as the Konji Mansion's foyer. And the outdoor penguin show was apparently suspended due to the star's penguin, Flippy, undergoing treatment for an injury. Flippy, alright. It was an unfortunate state of affairs, but it did not stop Alice from continuing to read over the guide. Apparently she was quite familiar with the penguin shows. Then... Can't believe it. Alice quietly whimpered as if holding back a scream.
何何どうしたの？
Hey, hey, what's wrong? Oko sat still looking at the floor plan. It was hard to see Alice getting emotional inside of the mansion. For some reason she was trembling. Nothing seemed terribly off about the aquarium's offerings.
ゾウガメがいない。
There is no giant tortoises.
え？
No what?
話が違うわ、青子。どうしてゾウガメの展示スペースがないの？
Oh no, there's no turtles. It's all wrong, Oko. Why is there no giant tortoise exhibit?
どうしてって、そりゃゾウガメぐらいになったらもうほとんど陸上生物だからじゃない？大きいし。
Why? Why? I don't know. A giant tortoise is even aquatic. Maybe it's because they take up too much space. If it's a tortoise, it's not aquatic, is it? Like that's the land-based one. Or am I wrong now? Hmm.
なんでペンギンはいるのに不公平よ。
Why though? You have penguins. It's not fair.
イルカだって許せないわ。
Look, they even have a dolphin. This is absurd. This is a bitter pill for Alice to swallow. Indeed, they did not have a giant tortoise despite having a dolphin, and Alice's eyes hot with indignation.
ああ、言われてみれば確かに。
Now that you mention it.
ペンギンとイルカは定番なのになぜゾウガメだけ外されるのか。ちょっとした日常の落とし穴ね。
If penguins and dolphins are standard fare, you'd think they would have at least a giant tortoise. What were they thinking? Oh, Cassette, certainly something like a giant tortoise would be boring and unpopular. She was sensible enough to read the room, however, and kept the doors to herself. I don't know, I think turtles are nice.
アリス、こっち。チケットはあるからそっちに並ぶことはないわよ。
Let's go, Alice. We have tickets, so we can skip the line. A few moments after the giant tortoise fiasco, presenting the tickets they received from Sergio, they headed towards the most popular entrance. From the entrance gate, the corridor stretched into a dark hallway completely illuminated in blue. I'm hearing noises. Figures and faces became mere silhouettes in the darkness. It was no darkness born from Magecraft, but the man-made area of Twilight. A world of shadow and blue, the only light being from the illuminated tanks. I don't think they have those kind of tortoises there, Wallace. The two witches continued walking down the artificial ocean corridor. Water tanks seemed like windows into hundreds of different worlds. Each had their own separate temperature and environment. It is as if they were snapshots from the same place at different times. Mesmerized by the reflecting images of the ocean floor, the housemate's conversation grew sparse.
そういえばアリスの家ってあれだけ大きいのにプールとかないわよね。なんで？
It reminds me, Alice, you have this huge mansion without a pool. What's up with that?
呆れた。水槽を見て何を想像したのかは聞かないけど。
Figures, you come to an aquarium, that's what you think about.
必要ないものを欲しがるのはあなたの悪い癖ね、青子。
One thing superfluous things is a bad habit of yours, Aoko.
必要ないってことはないんじゃない？水遊びはこっちよりそっちの方が馴染み深いでしょうに。
Oh, a pool isn't superfluous. Besides, our pool's more common in England and Japan.
もしかしてアリス泳げない？
Or could it be that you can't swim?
泳ぎの経験ぐらいあるわ。夏は湖で何度も遊んだもの。
I spent enough time in a swimsuit. I often swam in the lake as a child.
私、大型のセントバーナードにだって負けなかったのよ。
And I never once lost a race to a big St. Bernard.
セントバーナードってアリスさんたらもしかして息継ぎとか苦手かしら？
A St. Bernard? Wait, don't tell me. You had troubles with your breathing, didn't you?
この世で最も聞きたくない言葉の一つね。
Spare me the swimming lesson.
クロールとかバタフライとか。発明した人は半魚人になればいいのに。
Crawl, butterfly. The people who invented those were probably half fish anyway. Clack, clack, clack. The pace was more delicate and solemn than a stroll along the beach. It was the sort of absent-minded chat that one might hear between girls anywhere in the world. In here, the only thing to do is to look at blue screens.
でも驚
I
いた。
don't think we're going to see any
あん
fish
なに
yet.
あっさり館の留守を任せるなんて。あいつがこっそり西館に入るかもとか考えなかった？
I'm surprised you were willing to leave him alone in the house. You're not worried he'll go snooping in the West Wing, are you?
彼、そこまで考えなしじゃないでしょ。
He can't possibly be that
そ
foolish.
れに、
Besides,
それにそれならそれで手間が省けてせいせいした？
it'd save us trouble if he did.
そうじゃなくて、
It's not that.
一度交わした約束は破らないんじゃないかって。
I just don't think he's the type to break his word. They come back. Sergio was fucking dead. That he was not. Aoko nodded with her long hair waving back and forth. A sudden gleam of surprise in her eyes. Onwards they meandered to the next aquatic world.
ところで水族館は初めて？
And by the way, is this your first time at an
こ
aquarium?
れで2度目。昔、友達と2人で行ったきりよ。
Second, I went with a friend long ago.
嘘？本当？
No way. Really?
ほんと、6年以上も前。まだイギリスにいた頃。
It's probably the confusion at her having a friend, isn't it? Yes, really. More than 6 years ago when I was still in England.
そうじゃなくて友達の方。あんた
Leave it.
友人はいないって言ったじゃない。
No, I meant the friend part. I thought you said you didn't have any friends.
昔の話よ。私たち同じ名前だったの。
It was a long time ago. We even had the same name. Oh no, Alice and Alice.
それが縁でよく遊んでいたけれど長続きはしなかったわ。
We used to play all the time, but we fell out of touch.
そっか。あっちじゃそう珍しくない名前なのね、アリスって。こっちで言うところの涼子とか花子みたいなもの？
Ah, that's right. Alice must be a pretty common name over there. Here it's all Ryoko or Hanako and such.
ええ、青子とか赤子とか黒子とか白子みたいなものよ。
Indeed, our names referencing callers like Aoko, Akako, Kuroko, or Shiroko.
後半はみんな普通名詞なんですけど。
They do all under the code, don't they? To each their own, a society of names. The swirling of the waters was dizzying, much like the hectic world of humans. Their hands swing back and forth as they walk to the next world.
そういう青子は彼をどうするつもりなの？
Incidentally, Aoko, what exactly is your plan for him?
どうって、今の一件を終わらせるまでおとなしくしてもらって、落ち着いたら忘却のルーン探してなかったことにするだけでしょ？これ以上迷惑かけられないわよ。
Well, once our current issue is resolved and things calm down, I'll find a rune for erasing his memory, and I'll forget if he ever existed. It won't be bothered for much longer.
それは私に？
You're bothered to me?
ああ、うん、そう。そうに決まってるじゃない。
Hmm? No, yeah,
ところで
obviously.
この魚綺麗よね。なんか泳ぎたくなってくる。アリス、来年の夏は海にでも行ってみよっか。
Wow, this fish is really pretty. Makes me want to swim. Hey, we should go to the beach next summer.
海ってあの海？
The beach? You mean by the ocean?
もちろん。夏の海って言ったら灼熱の太陽と砂浜、水平線に沈む夕日ってね。
Of course. You know, the fun under the hot summer sun, sand between your toes, watching the sunset on the horizon. What is good about sand between your toes? Please explain it to me. There's nothing good about that.
今年は行けなかったけど、来年は一緒に行かない？
We couldn't go this year, so why don't we go together next year?
呆れた。本当、あなたって楽観的。
Not to speak too soon every time. Your optimism is exhausting.
でもそうね。夏まで生きていられたのならそういうこともあるかもしれない。
But it does sound nice, if you manage to survive until next summer, that is. The two girls journey to the next oceanic wonderland, virtually taking in the sights. The visitors to these winter waters had begun to leave, satisfied by the tour. The sound of their footsteps heralded a farewell. It really is an aquarium date, huh? An hour into the wayfaring sea voyage. Losing themselves in the maze-like corridors of seemingly endless exhibits, they somehow found themselves on the next floor. Aoko had heard that the aquarium was situated on the top floor, and was shocked to find out there was yet another above it. It was likely by design that the actual top floor could only be accessed from within the aquarium. Moments of intrigue such as these are what attractions are made for.
アリス？
Alice? Turning this way and that way, she found Alice had disappeared. Her housemate had just been there, however, and Aoko took looking for her. She soon found her nearby. Her white overcoat shone brightly in front of a dimly lit exhibit. She was staring motionless into the water tank. Alice almost looked to be staring through it, as was distracted by something.
どうしたのアリス？気分でも悪くなった？
What's wrong, Alice? Are you feeling okay? Is there a turtle in there? She spoke, hoping to snap her out of it. Alice's typically cool aura seemed to have all but left her.
珍しい魚でもいた？それ、余り物を端に追いやりましたって感じの水槽だけど。
Is that a rare fish? This looks like the tank they use for all the fish that don't fit anywhere else. Alice gave a non-committal response. Just ahead of her gaze was a single shadow.
わお、マンボウ。
Whoa, an ocean sunfish. Alice remained motionless, unresponsive to Aoko's sarcasm. She stood in silence watching the poor little fish, drifting listlessly in the tank where they put the fish that did not fit anywhere else, here at the end of the hall. To put it lightly, sunfish were not especially pleasant to look at. On looking at one, it begged the question of what direction of evolution it wanted to take with it. It looked like it swam using its rudder-like fins on the top and the bottom, but it lacked the grace of other fish. To Oko, its eyes, its body, and strange movements made it an awkward creature. But...
ねえアリス、あっちの水槽見ない？ジンベエザメの回遊とか見目麗しいわよ。
Hey Alice, let's check out the whale shark exhibit over there. It sounds really exciting, don't you think? Alice unmoved, fixated on the sunfish. It clumsily drifted around its tank, occasionally bumping into the glass as it turned.
青子、この子泳ぐのが下手だわ。
Oko, this little one can swim well. Alice extended her fingers towards the glass and then retracting it, feeling childish.
いっか。愛嬌だけはあるしね、マンボ。
Well, whatever. I suppose sunfish have their own charm. It did not seem like Alice was going to budge. Resigning herself, Oko stayed with Alice while she stared at the cushion-shaped fish.
へえ、マンボウってフグ目だったんだ。何々？マンボウのメスは一度に3億個の卵を海中に放出する地上で最も多くの卵を産む脊椎動物である。なるほどね。
Yeah, vice like pufferfish. It also says here that the females can produce more eggs than any other known vertebrae, up to 300 million at a time. Neat.
他の魚たちにとっちゃ格好の餌になるから多く産むこと。それ自体が生存のための手段になるわけか。
The babies become prey to other fish, so in a way giving birth to so many is a means of survival for them. Though Oko seemed taken in by the biological details of the fish, Alice couldn't have cared less. She was lost in the ebb and flow of the emotion between wonder and woe at the ever-clumsy bump of the fish into the glass. Out of nowhere, she softly spoke.
さっきの話だけど。
About before.
さっきの話って何？
Before? When?
彼について留守を任せるとか。
About him, living in the house in his care. It seemed like Alice had returned to her normal self. That was at Kolara. Whether inside the mansion or out, its sudden chill had pushed people away was back.
私の気が変わったわけじゃないわ。
I haven't changed my
依
mind.
然として彼のことはわからないもの。わからない人をどうやって信頼すればいいの？
He is still a complete unknown. How can I trust someone I know nothing about?
まあね。でもじゃあどうして？
I guess, but then why let him?
青子のことはわかるわ。あなたはいつも正しい選択をする。
Because I know you, Oko. You always make the
青
right
子を
decision.
信じる彼の人間性は信じてもいい。
Because I know you, Oko. You always make the right decision, so I'm trusting your judgment on the matter. It was true. She did not know Sojiro, nor had any intention to. But because of her trust in Naoko, she could trust Oko's decision to allow him to stay. It seemed Alice was challenging her own feelings. She said she could not trust someone she did not know. In other words, she wished to trust him, and in order to do so, she needed to know more about him.
口にするのはなんだから突っ込まないけどね。
Well, I don't really know how to respond to that, Alice.
それより何？そんなに私のこと信頼してくれてたの？アリス？
Also, I had no idea you trust me that much.
ええ。行為はともかく信頼だけはしているわ。
I do trust you. I may not be fond of you, but I trust you.
だって共犯者でしょ。私たち。
Because we're partners in crime, aren't we? Her white coat swayed to and fro. Just like that, the short excursion had come to an end. Straight ahead was the exit to the real world. A step away from the exhibit was a step towards becoming a better roommate.
優しい顔をしているのに傷だらけね。
Such a kind face, but so clearly scarred. One last small whisper. Now with that she bid farewell to the lonely figure in the tank. We didn't even get to see the fish. Sad. The sun set early during winter. By 4 in the afternoon it had already fallen below the horizon. Evening seemed to arrive at the mansion earlier than in the city.
なるほど。君の生態がよくわかった。
I see. Now I know all about crocodiles. Sojiro sat alone, sipping his warm tea in a chilly room. He relaxed on the couch, staring at the window, having had his fill of crocodiles. Once he sprawled out onto the sofa, his body refused to move. Maybe he'd always been wanted to try it. After 3 straight hours of crocodile watching, he intently pondered what it would be like to laser for the remainder of the day like a reptile. Just as he was considering the opportunity until Oak and Els returned, an unnatural noise echoed through the halls of the mansion. Sluggishly, he rose from all fours to a bipedal state, as if undergoing an evolution of his own. It was a knocking sound that repeated itself regularly, with a patient pauses in between. He recognized the cadence from something explained in his apartment before.
新聞の勧誘か
A newspaper salesman. Making for the foyer, Sojiro was impressed that he had hiked all the way up the hill. I don't think you should open the door. The knocking resounded airily. Without a doorbell of any kind, visitors had no choice but to rap on the door using whatever they had in hand. It would take a literal iron fist to produce the din Sojiro heard now. From his position in the hall, the front door looked like an ornately burnt fortification. The sturdy double doors looked as though they could withstand any onslaught of blows. But now they rattled in protest to the repeated knocking. Whoever the visitor was, they seemed determined to breach the castle's gate by force if its offender refused to sally forth. Fortunately for them, Sojiro was sympathetic, having experience selling newspapers himself.
はい今開けます
Just a second, that ain't no newspaper person, is it? He knew what it was like to be in those shoes, so he was unsurprised by the persistence.
Oh.
This took the second surprise of the day. Sojiro was struck speechless. He was greeted by a young woman who oddly looked the part of a newspaper hawker. Standing in the courtyard against the dusk-lit horizon, she appeared more at home in a European mansion than Sojiro did. She carried a dignified air in spite of her dainty frame. While a touch shorter than Sojiro, she was tall for her sex. Really? That's how you word it? Whatever. Her green clothing was subtly coloured yet flashy, and clearly inspired by foreign fashion. It's a very shitty looking green, to be honest. She seemed dim and proper yet bald. Though vaguely garish, her appearance spoke of strength and confidence. Sojiro knew all too well that such a woman was not to be trifled with. Only unlike the one he knew, the stranger appeared to be more friendly than intimidating. Perhaps it was her short hair that made her look approachable. Bright and brown, it stopped just above the nape of her neck. Sojiro suddenly thought that it was a shame she hadn't grown it out. She looked at him and offered to smile. Despite seeming visibly older than him, this made her appear impish and cute. He's got like a stab, isn't he? Sojiro erected with suspicion, knowing better than now but to fall for a charming smile. At any rate, it was rude to stare.
どちら様でしょうか
Can I help you? He tried to not look flustered as he greeted the visitor. To which he replied,
こんばんは。青子います？
Good evening. Is Aoko? She smiled as she used Aoko's first name with a familiar tone. Oh, that's a bad sign.
青崎はいないんです
Kawasaki isn't home right now. She smiled again, this time deviously upon learning Aoko's Aoko's
それ
absence.
じゃあクオンジさんも留守なんだ。
Then had taken Miss Konji's away too. Sojiro looked perplexed. It was the first time he had heard Alice be referred to as a last name only, and again, with familiarity of an old friend.
そっか。夜ならともかく日中から二人で出かけるとは感心感心。
I see. It's nice to hear they can get out during the day instead of only during the dead of night.
形だけの雑居だろうと思ったけど、ちゃんとうまくいってるのね。
I was under the impression that living together was merely a facade, but they really do get along. Sojiro found himself nodding in response to a smile. It was strange enough that the visitor knew both Aoka and Alice, but Sojiro found her odd as well. Likely in her early 20s, she did not appear much older than he was. She was clearly hiding something behind her nonchalant manner and bright smile.
それじゃあ帰ってくるにしても夜？
So they won't be home until the evening then?
はい終電前には帰ってくると思いますけど
That's correct. Though I do expect him to be back before the last train.
そう。ところで君誰？
I see. And who might you be? Sojiro troubled by forwardness wanted to ask the same. Alas, who are you was a question far too difficult for Sojiro.
すみません誰かと言われてもよくわからなくて
I'm sorry, I don't really know how to answer that.
とりあえず今は留守番してますけど実は青崎の友人なんです
For now, I'm the house sitter, a friend of Aozaki's to tell the truth. It was a response without an ounce of persuasion to it. The young woman's face lit up as though she was believed the boys attempted to tease her.
へえ、面白いこと言うのね、君。名前はなんて言うの？
Aren't you a funny one? What's your name, dear?
静木宗十郎というのですが。
It's Sojiro Shizuki. The shy answer made her giggle. Sojiro had no idea what he said was so funny, but her laugh did not offend him. It came across as warm and affable, rather than adoratory. Then, after she finished giggling, the woman fixed her with a rather tender look.
いや、気に入ったわ。
Like Shaddy's gonna get
宗
shanked.
十郎くんだっけ？
I think I like you. Sojiro, was it?
君には合わない名前だけど、それも暗示的で素敵だし。じゃあ、そういうわけで、お茶でも入れてくれない？
A fine name for hypnosis, though it doesn't really suit you. Now then, pour me some tea, would you?
あ、いや。
Wait. She slid past him into the house, boldly stirring towards the entrance hall.
うわ、呆れた。ほんと以前のまんまじゃない。
Oh, just as I remember it.
せっかくこっちに持ってきたんだから、悪いところはリフォームしたものと思ったけど、何も柱の歪みまで再現しなくてもいいのにね。
I thought you would have at least repaired the damaged pieces, but we're taking the trouble of bringing them all the way here. I would have fixed up the warped columns at least. The visitor cheerfully inspected the foyer. Sergio still stood at the entrance. The clicking of her heels on the wooden floor echoed as he moved towards the drawing room.
どうしたの？こっちでしょ？今は。
Why are you standing there? The drawing room is this way, isn't it? She disappeared from the foyer into the drawing room, wholly familiar with the layout of the house.
青崎かアリス。どっちかの先輩かな。
Does she know Ozaki from school? Or maybe she knows Alice? Sergio muttered to himself, walking to the drawing room. He entered to see the woman walking around the room gleefully. Like someone strolling down a park boulevard. She peered around, breathing in nostalgia. Trailing with ladylike, already girlish glee.
よく見れば、このテレビって。
Wait a minute. This TV, yes. She stared at the television inquisitively. Perhaps she had never seen a 30-inch television before. Luckily for Sojiro, the cathode ray tube was still displaying images of the animal kingdom. He wished to stop the video before he answered the door.
もし。
May I? He blurted out half a question, attempting to regain composure. There were many questions to be answered, but he first resolved to ask her name at least. The woman turned a coldly observant gaze to him. Her intimidating eyes and long, thin eyebrows bore to Sojiro through his spectacles. Sojiro did no offense, but now he felt like he had chosen his words very poorly. He apologetically climbed up. Then...
やだな、宗十郎くん。もし、なんてかしこまって。
Come now, Sojiro. May I? Really?
私、そんなおばさんに見える？
Do I look like some old lady to you? She snickered. Her disapproving glare melted into a teasing smile. Of course, it wasn't true at all. It would be more accurate to say she had the air of an older sister. Or at least it was what Sojiro attempted to express with body language, to which he grinned smugly.
よろしい。
Great, an older
なら
smug lady.
そんな他人行儀な話し方はやめましょう。つまらないし、柄じゃないわ。
Very well. Let's do away with the formality, shall we? You're beginning to bore me anyway. Lag. Without making a sound, she took an effortless seat on the sofa. As naturally as she was belonging there. Naturally as she belonged there. Her posture and movements exuded sophistication. And she required no words to instruct him to hurry and make the tea. Without pressing it further, Sojiro headed to the kitchen. It seemed that the conversation would not proceed until tea had been served. He chose a far shawl he was forced to replace once before after using it without permission. Since she was here to see Oko, he decided to serve her using Oko's Severus teacup? Sever teacup? I don't know. Into the cup that was blue as the ocean depths, he carefully poured the tea before returning to the drawing room. Gently, he placed the teacup on the table and faced the woman.
尋ねるのが遅れましたけど。
This is Major Lady's favorite from this game.
かな。
The judgment is still out, don't worry. Forgive me for not asking earlier, but you should take it that you're an acquaintance of Aozaki's or whatever. Despite being told otherwise, Sojiro could not help to stand on ceremony. His clumsy effort to make a question and casually, sounds casual only jumbled it further. The visitor's eyes narrowed in displeasure.
その青崎っていうのをやめてくれない？なんだかくすぐったくて。青子でいいでしょ？呼び方は。
That's what I mean. Would you stop calling her Awazaki? It's beginning to grate on me. Just use Aoko. Maybe it's a sister or something? I don't know. The woman kept the rest of her expression indifferent as she slowly raised the cup to take a sip. Smiling, she tolerated the tea that Aoko and Alice regularly criticized and bitter and clumsily brewed. Soju had yet to learn that society thoughtfully awarded participation trophies to people merely for trying, regardless of the outcome.
ほら、立ってないで座って。見下ろされるのは好きじゃないんだ。私。
Oh, don't stand there. Sit. I don't like being looked down on. Soju tilted his head, noting a slightly familiarity to her manner of speech. It was almost as if they had met somewhere before. Wait. Asida was sitting down on the sofa because of forgotten memories. Noticing his reaction, the woman became visibly delighted.
思い出した？私もちょっと驚いたわ。
Wasn't it the lady he meant at the gambling parlor? Was it Pachinko? I don't remember. I feel like he got scattered and he ran off, didn't he? You remember me? You can tell you're as surprised as you are.
青子を訪ねに来たらいつか見た君が出迎えてくるんだから。
I came all the way here to see Aoko, and instead I find you standing there to greet me. Oh. Now that she was chuckling, Soju remembered everything. He had only glimpsed her for a moment, but there was no mistaking it. It had to be her, the woman smoking the long cigarette who had cleaned out the pachinko parlor.
あの時は私もショックだったな。
You gave me quite a fright today, Sojuro.
宗十郎君、目が合うなりいきなり逃げ出したでしょ？
You took one look at me and ran away.
そんなに私ってこわもてなのかしらって、あの日の晩は真剣に悩んだんだから。
How terrifying you must think I am, reacting like that. You hurt my feelings, you know. In spite of her words, he clearly enjoyed the memory. She was right, he'd mistaken her for a murderous shadow in the park on the previous night and fled for a mortal terror. Oh, is that what happened? Even though it was clearly a case of mistaken identity, she could now see why he had mixed them up.
そうか、雰囲気が似てるんだ。
So that's why, they feel similar. Finally, Sojuro realized who the visitor was. He chided himself for not realizing it sooner.
それじゃあ、あなたは。
You must be. Just as he was about to say it, she held up her hand to interrupt him. She pointed at him like she was aiming a gun.
ごめんなさい。君の仕草がちょっと可愛くてからかいが過ぎちゃった。
Forgive me, your reaction was just so cute. I got carried away teasing
自
you.
己紹介が遅れたけど、私は青崎瞳子。
It's a little late, but my name is Toko Awazaki.
率直に言うと、青子の実の姉ってわけね。
Surprise, I'm Aoko's big sister. Still sending off alarm bells though. That figured. No wonder I had been charmed at first sight. It wasn't hard to envision Toko as a not too distant future version of Aoko, with a smile that imparted courage to any who glimpsed it. Only, while Aoko was earnest and diligent, Toko seemed to be shrewd and playful.
あの子が困ってるって聞いてね。
I'd heard my sister was in trouble.
いい加減忠告してあげる気で、はるばるやってきたわけなのでした。
So I came all the way over here to set her straight. Aoko's sister chuckled coyly while sipping her tea. Lured by her charm, Sojuro sat on the sofa as well. He felt like he could relax a little, now that the initial shock of unexpected guests had subsided. Just like that, it was almost 5 in the afternoon. Aoko and Alice would be returning from their excursion soon. With all the trains they had to take to get there? This was Misaki City's only subway line. Only half a year had passed since its opening, and at the end of the fairly new platform the two girls stood. The time was 36 in the evening, or 6:30 in the evening. Did I say 36? They had been idling around for 20 minutes since returning from Arisaka and had yet to return to street level.
青子。
Okay. There was an hint of irritation in Alice's voice.
ちょっと待って。あともう一回だけ。ね。
I'm not done yet. Just one more, okay? Aoko backed Alice, hands together, trembling from the call. It was weird to see her act as childish. No doubt Tobimaro would consider this behavior more strange than cute if he were here. From the end of the platform, Aoko peered into the creeping darkness where the tracks had led.
あなたの趣味変わってるわ。
You have the strangest taste. Alice muttered, sitting on the bench with forbearance. Any other day she would have been fine heading back by herself, but today she was in a good mood and decided to humor Aoko. Knowing full well that the rare spells of positivity were all about as fragile as freshly fallen snow, she hoped to go home while she was still in high spirits. Eyes closed, the pleasant Diminora conveyed her feelings well enough. Oh, come on, watch stop working. That's the wrong visual novel, you know it. There's a two of them waiting on the platform for the subway train he had no intention of riding. The subway had recently opened for service. The people of Misaki were humble folk, and for now the few passengers were drawn to the novelty and high price of the new train. Thanks to the low foot traffic, the platform was still as good as new. There was something primeval about the subway devoid of people. It was a picture of tranquility, free of human interference. Not just silent, but lifeless. This was a realm unmolested by living creatures where only the speechless organism dwelt. The harshly artificial fluorescent lightning underscored the soullessness. Rough word. It was a cave where light ended and shadows began. Where riderless vessels disappeared into the dark. The platform was wedged between two tracks like a jetty built upon the subterranean sea. In this place, far removed from the world above, Aoko waited with eyes closed for a familiar rumble. It was she who had proposed that he delay their return and rest at the platform. The reason was simple. Aoko and Zaki enjoyed the soothing sound of passing subway trains.
今年はもうライブハウスに行けそうもないし、これぐらいのわがままはいいでしょ
I probably won't get to see any more live bands this year, so at least let me have this. She had said to Alice, her eyes still closed. Sure, it's a bit just a weird thing to want, but whatever. Alice had neither nodded nor objected, and so they watched the three trains come and go. Silence fell again. Aoko waited for the next train with anticipation. Alice sat and stared at the tunnel wall patiently. According to the display board, the next train was due to arrive in 5 minutes. From the dark tunnel came wind and rumbling. Via the spooky music. A purposely placed bounded field now surrounded the platform. There was no sign of any station personnel, and the entrances and exits were few and narrow. The lack of bystanders made it feel hardly necessary. Suddenly, 6 figures appeared in front of the stairs to the surface. They all shared the same face. Motionless and with smiles like the crescent moon, they stared at Aoko and Alice. A bunch of dolls?
鈍っているにも程があるわね。
I can't believe I missed that. Alice let a quiet dejected sigh.
どうかした
Alice, what's wrong?
どうも何も。この駅で降りたのはあなたと私だけなの。気づいていた。
Must you ask? Didn't you notice that you and I were the only ones to get off at this station?
そりゃね、相変わらずここの地下鉄ってば利用客が少ないって。
I mean, the subway is usually pretty dead anyway, so... Aoko trilled off, tutting in annoyance.
で、そういうアリスはいつ気がついたの
So I tipped you off.
憂鬱なことにたった今よ。
The impending gloom of all a moment ago.
青子ばかり
This is
責められ
typical
ない
to Choo Choo Charles.
あなたと
Choo
私
Choo
が一つなら
Charles!
こんなこともなかったの。
I'm not entirely blaming you. This wouldn't have happened if you were a better team.
つまらない例え話は口にしない。
And off sniveling. They traded stoic and calm mirths, never moving or making eye contact. In contrast, the figures near the stairs began to stir. As they were regressing from primates to wild beasts, they dropped prone in unison, and scrambled forward like man-sized ants. They advanced as a stream, one after another. Soon the clattering came not just from the platform entrances, but from the subway tunnel as well. At a glance they numbered at least 30 strong. The eerie skittering multiplied, echoing off the subway walls.
信じられない。これだけの自動人形集めたらうちどころかフランスの一等地も買えるんじゃない
This is ridiculous. Forget Misaki. With this many automata, you could take over all of southern France.
ええ。もっともこんな出来じゃ買い手は見つからないでしょうけど。
True, but it doubt there will be much demand for dolls of such poor quality.
なんだ、ガラクタはガラクタか。
Junk is junk after all. One of the horde leapt forward in response to Aoko's insult. It was a sudden charge like a hurtling dump truck. Alice remained still. As though expecting the attack, Aoko swung her right arm in an arc. The blue missile of light was easily repelled. The magic bullet snapped at little to no effect on the puppets. They scrambled over each other like frogs, head jerking and twisting in search of prey.
全部で30か。悪いけど、一人でやらせてもらうわよ、アリス。この前の実力と思われたままじゃ不愉快だ。
I count 30 total. Sorry, Alice, but I'm going to need you to hang back. Can't have you thinking last time was my best. As she spoke to Alice, who was still sitting on the bench, Aoka stepped towards the edge of the platform. Among the myriad of regrets she still had from the amusement park, the House of Mirrors stung the most. She had been caught off guard in a lost battle against a puppet. But today she come prepared, and she had Alice's backup. Very cozy imagery, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of waiting for something to happen because it's been a lot of... Well, it's been like 3-4 chapters without any actual things happening, so... It was high time, I guess. Aoka ignited a magic crest. This time she would restore honor and...
私の後ろまで下がって青子。そこにいたらあなたまで食べてしまう。
Get behind me, Aoko. It'll eat you too if you stand there. All it took to stop Aoko was one raised finger.
Alice, それは...
Alice, wait, you can't. In the depths of the ocean black, the bells of night chimed out. The jetties have embraced by a seagull like Poseidon or Watatsumi. Became awash with white motes which seem to engulf
青
everything.
子のやり方じゃ後が残るでしょ
You always leave a mess,
う。もうじ
Aoko.
き次の電車も来るし。それに
Not to mention, the next train will be arriving soon and... Behind the wild veil, blood and her form stretched blood and upward. She was like a melancholy ballerina. The figures surrounding the prima ballerina bristled in response to the strange aura. Though the puppets were human mystical vessels, they had far more reason to fear Alice than they did the human Aoko. They began to flee. Whoever the master was, they sensed enough danger in order to order a retreat. However, it was too late. The dancers were captivated by their prima, transfixed in place as if the Achilles tendons had been severed.
それに
Besides,
気分を台無しにされたのはあな
wouldn't
ただけじゃ
it,
ない
wouldn't the train just like crush all the puppets anyway when it comes in? Like, wouldn't that just take care of it? I mean, maybe they're stronger than that, but still. Then again, humans would see, so that's a problem. It wasn't just you who ruined my mood. She removed her black laugh. Unlike a subdued manner at the mansion, Alice's aura away from home was a biting, frigid blizzard that no one could approach. A discarded glove floated down, settling on the platform deck. The pale haze grew even thicker. Terrified, the mass of shadows cried for mercy.
さあごっこ遊びをしましょう
Now, let us play make-believe. Within the nebulous mist, a dark fairy tale came to life. Inside that fog, only the macabre melody of a voice felt real. Okay, the real question is, why are these dolls filled with blood? Feast, grind, crunch. At last, the final puppet fell. On the walls, on the floor, on the ceiling. The grotesque mechanical sounds of the demise filled the air. The twisted shrieks plastered the subway surfaces like inedible bloodstains. Some amorphous abomination had hastily let just slowly enough to sever the taste, chewed and devoured all 30 puppets. Only a lone severed arm remained on the platform.
持ってきてたのあれ
You had that thing on you this whole time? Aoka spoke sideways to Alice, making no attempt to hide her disgust. The brutal gluttony they had just witnessed had a name. It was the Beast of the Fog, one of the three great Ploys Kickshaw. The monstrous Rosehound, wasn't it Bandersnatch? Wandersnatch. Aoka's words stung, since Alice was the one harboring its true form. The great three Ploys wielded terrifying powerful curses. While Wandersnatch had its uses in combat, Aoka was not all amused to learn that her companion had been carrying it around all day. Without hyperbole, it was akin to going out for dinner with a bunker buster bomb in one's pocket.
まあ次からは一言お願いね
Just tell me next time,
他の
okay?
プロイならいいけど今のやつだけは別よできれば洋館限定にしてほしいぐらい
All the ploys are fine, but not that one. Try to leave it at home, would you?
悪かったわでも最近何も食べさせてなかったから
I apologize. It's just that I haven't let him feed lately, so... Alice walked slowly towards the severed arm. Indeed, all she'd done was feed her ploy. No one had died, and no blood had been shed. But there's all that shit all over the walls. And no blood had been shed since the meal was made of plastic.
青子 ちょっと。
Oko, over here. Alice picked up the arm and beckoned Oko over.
これを見て。私たちは今まで相手を人形使いと思っていたけど。
Might be an older snitch rather than one. I mean, it might just be a translation thing as well. I'm not sure. It's like words kind of change when they're pronounced in Japanese, so I'm like maybe something is like that. I'm not sure. Then again, I think I've heard both of them anyway, so. Look at this. Until now we were thinking our opponent was a puppet master, but I think we were wrong.
わかる。この人形たちは新しすぎる。
Can you see it? These puppets are too new.
この子たちが作られたのは17世紀以後よ。それはそれで信じがたいことだけど。
It must have been made no earlier than the 17th century. Even that seems hard to believe.
なんですって。
What did you just say? Although it sounded counterintuitive, automata typically performed better with age. Since the 17th century, the magical concept of using puppets and mannequins had declined. Consequently, it became much harder to produce combat-effective automata. Well, this is like some roaming yoker that's similar like Catnap's Jindal, I guess. If one wanted to build an automaton these days, it was far more cost efficient to train even a low-class familiar, and it would be better constructed too. Therefore, it was common for modern puppet masters to collect parts made from before the 17th century and use them in the creations. The high price of automata often came not from the integrated combat abilities, but from the rarity of the parts used to make them. Despite that, the enemy mage controlling these puppets used them as fodder and as if they grew on trees. The only conclusion to be drawn was their current opponent was a spoiled upstart with wealth but no territory. Also, Alice and Oko imagined
そ
anyway.
れともう一つ。
There's something else.
この構造は岬市の結界に似ているわ。
The internal formula reminded me of Misaki's bounded field.
まるで自分たちこそがこの町を守る兵士だって主張するぐらい。
It's as if their maker is asserting that these are the rightful defense of our city. Alice presented the evidence to Oko, who was still waving fog out of her face. The revelation stirred profound surprise and rapid realization.
そういうことなのね。
I see. Now I get it. Oko growled, finally smashing the arm on the ground. Her face twisted with anger and a hint of
惜し
fear.
げもなく骨董品を出してくると思ったら、そもそも出し惜しむほどのものじゃなかったわけか。
She didn't bother holding back any of her knickknacks because they weren't worth keeping in reserve to begin with.
確かにあの女なら町の結界にも反応しないし、私の欠点も知ってて当然。視点の退去だって簡単にやってのけるわよね。
That's why the town's barrier didn't have any effect on her, and now she knew my weakness. No wonder she found her move to sigil so easily. Should have known. Alice quietly listened to Oko's furious rumblings, bemused.
青子、これを作ったの。
As it says, ain't it?
そうなの。
Oko, so you're saying that the one who made these is no longer
え
then?
え、昔から物を作ることに関しちゃずば抜けていたからね、あの人は。
That's right. When it came to making things, she always let me beat. Oko glared at the severed arm. She was furious at its creator and herself for taking so long to figure it out.
でも、ようやく合点がいった。
But it all adds up now.
認めたくないけど、今回の敵は間違いなく私の姉貴。
As much as I hate to admit it, our current enemy is my big sister, no doubt about it.
この土地の元継承者、青崎東子その人よ、アリス。
She's the one who was meant to inherit our land, Alice. Sojiro is getting fucking stabbed right now. The desolate subway platform returned to silence. Oko's words lingering uncomfortably in the air. Either that or he's getting taken prisoner or some shit. The world's most terrifying animals and... A short time at the Koenji estate. The videotape finished playing. The VCR automatically stopped playback, forgoing to need to hit the stop button to avoid the static storm. What remained on screen was a reflection of Sojiro and Toko Awazaki, sitting opposite of each other in conversation.
秘密を知られたから先制なしの直接攻撃。ね。怪獣作を考えもしないのは青子らしいけど。
A direct attack without warning because the secret was exposed. Aoko never did play well with others. It was hard to tell if she was being patronizing or indifferent. Toko Awazaki took a sip from her cup as she listened to Sojiro's story. She would have saved the anecdote about the amusement park kerfuffle, but not for the poor excuse for a cup of tea in her hands.
ありがとう。参考になったわ。
Thank you for that. I feel so
ここ
informed.
しばらく青子とは顔を合わせていなかったから、
You're
あ
spilling
の
the
子が
secrets.
どんな風に成長したかなんて想像するしかなかったし、
I haven't seen Naoko in ages, so I can only imagine the kind of woman she's grown into.
それと一応肉親として謝っておかないとね。
And as a sister, the least I can do is apologize.
災難に付き合わせて悪かったわ、宗十郎君。
I'm sorry you had to experience such a tragic event,
ほ
Sojiro.
んと、あの子ったら昔から迷いってものがなかったから。
That girl does have a tendency to be rather headstrong.
なさすぎると思います。
You said it. Sojiro was enjoying the conversation despite having to relive those events. About an hour passed while the two of them sat in conversation, either short on topics to discuss. Naoko was an easy topic for both of them, so the conversation centered mostly around her. Give me a second, chat.
さっきから気になってることがあるんだけど、聞いていいかな。
By the way, I've been curious about something, and I hope you don't mind me asking. While she kept the posture dignified, Toko's eyes shone with eager curiosity. Her elegance caused Sojiro's heart to beat a little faster.
気になってること
Oh no.
ですか
Have you fucked my sister? Curious? About what? Despite his caution, he found himself speaking politely. She smiled affectionately as if she found him pleasing.
ええ、一度目はダッシュで逃げられて驚いたけど、今日は違った意味で驚かされた。
Well, you see, you surprised me last time when you ran away, but today I'm surprised with something new.
ね、そういうのが若い子たちの流行りなの？
Is that some kind of in vogue fashion accessory?
はい。
Wouldn't be nice if not. Come again. Toga tilted her head, fixated on the collar that Oka had snugly secured around his neck.
新手のチョーカー？でもどこから見ても、ほら。
Is that a new style of choker? You know, I could swear it was the respectable woman made a show of holding her tongue. On a completely unrelated note, in another decade, similar accessories become a standard part of visual kei artist's wardrobe.
まさかどこから見ても首輪ですよ。犬用の。
Oh, it's not all. It's a collar for dogs.
やっぱり？けどその首はすごく可愛いわ。よく似合ってるけど、
Bruh.
自分でつけたの？
I knew it. It's rather charming and very much suits you. I might add, did you put it on yourself? Toga thought intently, examining the strap. Well, he had never been very conscious of the collar until now. For some reason, Soju found himself
は
blushing.
い。つけたのは自分ですけど。
Yes, I put it on by myself.
そうじゃなくて、誰からもらったの？青子？それともクオンジさん？
No, silly. I mean, who gave it to you? Was it Aoko or perhaps Miss Konji?
くれたのは青子ですね。
Aoko gave it to me. Toko nodded in satisfaction at Soju's candid response. I see, she's working like a
つ
dog.
まり、君は青子の持ち物なわけか。
Makes you Aoko's property. She coldly muttered, but as the cordial atmosphere began to turn. Soju nodded, naturally obvious to the edge in the words.
何でも所有されてるそうです。
She does like to own things. The blunt observation made Toko burst out laughing. Apparently, Toko is the quirky type of person to laugh when least appropriate. Her life tapered off into a giggle. She picked up an now empty teacup.
じゃあ、これも青子のでしょ？青っていう名前にコンプレックスがあるくせに、青いものが割と好きだから。
So this must belong to Aoko as well. No, how funny, considering Shade's blue things on account of the blue character with the name. Yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but blue in Japanese is Ao, so yeah.
そうですけど、
Her name is literally Blue Go, I guess. Yeah, that's right. Would you like another cup?
二人ともまだ帰ってきそうにありませんから。
I'm not sure, and we'll be back.
いいえ、そろそろ帰ってくる頃よ。そういう風に仕向けたから。
No, thank you. Actually, we'll be returning shortly, as I calculated. Soju nodded heedlessly. Finally, the strange novice of phrasing dawned on him, and he tilted his head in confusion.
トウコさん、
Miss Toko? Toko sighed once.
ごめんね、宗十郎くん。メガネ外してもいいかしら。
Forgive me, Sojiro, but would you allow me to take off my glasses? What, do you have some kind of mystic eye? He wondered why she would need to ask him permission, but he nodded anyway.
それじゃあお言葉に甘えて。
It's very kind of you.
もう少しぐらいは君の反応を見ていたかったけど。
Though I do wish I could have enjoyed more of your hospitality. Toko touched the temples of her glasses. If one were to look closely enough, one might have noticed the scars on the slender fingers. They were small, fine scars from years of repeated cuts. Before fingers even left the eyeglass frames, the spectacles crumbled. It happened so fast that Soju barely registered it. The frame cracked into pieces, sliding down her face and into her lap.
やるもんだ。30体を一瞬とはね。
Kudos to you, sister. 30 in one go, not bad. The low voice belonged to someone entirely different. All she had done was take off her glasses, but her elegant grace had completely faded. Any semblance of warmth and kindness had disappeared. Sitting upon the sofa was a deplorable maid, her very presence darkening the room. Soju sat speechless. Across from him was a completely changed Toko, glaring back at him menacingly. More malice and magical energy was now emanating from Tokunin when Naoka tried to kill Sojiro. She seemed titillated at the prospect of the boy's shock at the transformation. Such expectations, however, were often left unfulfilled when it came to Sojiro.
メガネ壊れましたね。
You broke your glasses. Sojiro blurted out in surprise. Her hand stopped as she reached for a cigarette and the wind taken out of her sails.
もったいない。大丈夫ですかそれ。
This was unfortunate. Do you have another pair?
いや、そんなものはいいんだ。多少視力が落ちたところで大ごとにはな
Probably
ら
to
ないし。
control the puppets, isn't it? No, forget him. It's not that I actually need him to see correctly.
そもそも私がある限り、五感による情報にすら主観が入る。すべてこの世は霧の中だ。もともと目に見えるだけのものは信じていないたちでね。
As long as myself exists, data is received solely by my five senses. The entire world is in a fog. You shouldn't trust what you can only see with your eyes. The speech had taken on a clinical tone. This too did not seem to shake Sojiro.
そうですか。それでさっきの言葉の意味ですけど。
Right, so what you're saying is... Sojiro began forming another question unflinchingly. Toko scowled as if she found a bug in her food. After some consideration, she came to the conclusion that she needed to be blunt with the boy. By some twist of fate, it was a headache she now unknowingly shared with her sister.
意味も何もない。青子たちの帰り道に多少の障害を置いただけだ。私がここにいる間は外で足止めをするように。
It's like this, Sojiro. I placed some obstacles in Naoko's way. I'm only here now because she's still dealing with him.
君は青子の持ち物だと言ったな。ならことさら丁寧に教えてやる必要もない。
As I mentioned...
告白してしまうとね、宗十郎君。私が君たちの敵なんだ。
As I mentioned, you're merely your property, so I won't worry that pretty little head of yours. I must confess this, Sojiro. I'm your enemy. Till we understood her words, the clock's second hand would fully rotate twice over before anyone next spoke. They sat across from each other, eyes locked. Sojiro's shoulders tightened nervously. He had finally understood the true danger of the situation.
驚いた。
Surprised? Toko asked with a grin. She was still the same woman, but without her glasses, Toko's smile was rather
あ
sinister.
なたは青崎の姉なのに。
Even though you're Ozaki's sister. The smile pierced him as he asked the obvious. Toko was no longer surprised that Sojiro would be more concerned about the safety of others than his own. It's just one short hour. She had come to understand Sojiro Suzuki better than he knew himself.
逆だよ。姉だから敵なんだ。私には青子からあらゆる権利を奪う義務がある。
On the contrary, it is because I am a sister. I'm obligated to take away what's hers.
物質的なものも精神的なものもその全てを踏みにじらなければ気が済まない。
I won't stop until I crush every last thing she holds physically and emotionally dear.
尺度として言うなら、もし青子がこの町に頼っていたのなら、まず町から壊していたぐらい。
For instance, if she has come to rely on the city, then I will happily go so far as to destroy it.
けど、君のことは予想外だった。
But you, I wasn't expecting you. Toko, eyes closed, felt sorrow. Behind her troubled expression was a silent conflict.
世の平等に起こるべきか、偶然の出会いとやらに嘆くべきか。これも抑止
What's
力
the
という
counterforce doing here? Excuse me? I don't know whether she'd rage at the impartiality of the world or lament the serendipity of life. I suppose it's all part of the counterforce.
無垢な部外者を手にかけるのは世の常だが、
この手合いにあったのは初めてだ。
I guess I should quickly explain. The counterforce is usually a bunch of servants that just get manifested to assist in guerrilla wars and other conflicts if like the Earth is at stake and stuff like that. So I'm not sure whether it's getting name dropped here quite now, but innocent outsiders get killed all the time in this world of ours. But I've never met anyone quite like you.
そもそもいるなどと考えたことすらなかったな。
Or rather, never imagined a guy like you could exist. Toko sighed at the ceiling and stirred in his seat. She seemed to have overcome an unexpected moment of uncertainty.
君は青子の切り札には見えない。
You don't look like Aoko's ace and all.
排除しておくまでもない。善良かつ無能な部外者だ。
You're just a dim but nice stranger, too pitiful to put out of his misery.
だから放っておきたいのだけど、私の六感がこう告げているんだ。君を逃がすな。いいからさっさと済ませてしまえ。
But as much as I want to leave you be, my sixth sense is screaming that I should erase you now and be done with it. Well, plainly put, she had made up her mind to kill him. But Soji was somewhat flattered by how grossly inflated his importance. He was struck more by the comic irony. Toko arrived at the same conclusion as his sister. However, this was no time for idle thoughts. Soji readied himself to stand up from the sofa in such a way as not to draw attention to the plan so clearly written over his face, to make a run for it.
バカ者。こういう時は半端に動くな。逃げるならさっさと逃げる。交渉するならテコでも動くな。
Silly boy, don't give yourself away like that. If you're going to run, then run. But if you value your life, then don't move a muscle.
なんというか、そんな風に動かれると、その気がなくともつい反応してしまうだろう。ほら、命が惜しいのなら、おとなしく固まっていなさい。
In other words, you won't make it halfway to the door before I get you. Now be a good boy and sit still.
殺さないんですか？
So you're not going to kill me?
今のところはね。私は君が気に入ったし。
For the time being, I like you,
い
kid.
や、違うな。正しくはこう。私ぐらいしか君を救ってあげられないのかも。かな。
Well, not exactly. The truth is, I might be the only one who can save you.
はい。
What? She looked at the perplexed Soju straight in the eyes. Though actually brown, her eyes gleamed a piercing red like the edge of a blade. She does have mystic eyes, doesn't she? It was at this moment an overwhelming sense of dizziness overcame Sojiro. His mind went numb like he couldn't tell who he was. It was like drifting into a sinister sleep from which he'd never wake. Sojiro clenched his jaw, desperate to maintain his consciousness. Toko's eyes have hardened like a bottomless pit of quicksand. In that moment it all became clear to him. It no longer mattered that she was Hoka's sister, or that she was Alice's sworn enemy. Toko Izaki's deadly battle with the ghosts had become his battle. Which is why, when you find yourself feeling a special spark for a stranger you met mere moments ago, that feeling is not to be trusted. You may simply be attempting to fill a void shaped like yourself with more emptiness. Soju tried to drag his body away from the heretofore unencountered sense of danger, but found that it would not respond. Toko tilted her head forward at him, eyes fixated on his.
君の思う通り、私は君と似たところがある。それとも君が私に近いのかな。何？食べ物の好き嫌い程度の類似だが、軽視することでもない。
Your instincts were wrong. You do have something in common with me. Or maybe you're just close to me. Maybe we're picky about all the same foods. It's something to consider.
問題は、君が私より偏っているということでね。
The problem is, you're more biased than I am. Biased. She clearly used a different definition of the word than the one Soju knew. Bias. It meant was that he was alone. He was an outsider who didn't belong in this town. A sudden and seething anger eclipsed his gentle heart.
俺、一人じゃないですけど。
But I'm not alone. Soju shot back with all the enmity he could muster, as he faced his witch named Toko Awazaki. If he had not, he feared he would never escape her gaze.
だろうな。だからこそ君は偏っている。
Actually, I need to
早
check
くそれに
something.
気づきなさい。
I know this is really silly,
一番
but
手っ取り早い解決は、それでいいんだと認めることだ。
Why am I not logged in anymore on my anime list? Oh, which one was it? Huh. A while ago, I was going over my my anime list and stuff like that, and adding stuff, and I added the Takara no Kyokai series, or the Garden of Sinners in English. And when I was just like glancing at one of the synopses, the name Toko Awazaki got mentioned. So apparently she's in that movie series as well. Huh. Interesting. Like, I know that's just a random aside, but... Huh. I really need to get around to looking those, I guess. Huh. See, that's precisely what makes you biased. And the sooner you realize that, the better. It's the fastest way out of your predicament.
人間なんてたくましいもんでね。別に何もかも放り投げてもうまくいくものなのさ。
I was just randomly reminded of that, like, don't worry about it, chat. Humans are hardy creatures. No matter what life throws at them, they find a way to survive.
けれど、青子にはそれは許せない。あれは他人であれ、あらゆることを許さない人間だからな。
But Oko can't tolerate him, because she's a sort of stranger who can't stand anything. Toko leaned over the table. She reached out to grab Sojiro's collar and roughly pulled him toward her.
そんなことはいいんだ。ただ純粋に
So what's
私は
special with
君
Sojiro
が
right
欲し
now?
いと思った。君が自分の名前すら定かではないと名乗った時にね。
But enough about her. All I care about is getting to have you. In fact, I wanted you from the moment you mumbled your name like it's not even yours.
自分の認識が不明で自分自身が不能と感じる。
I want you with your lack of self-awareness and your sense of
未
powerlessness.
来というものがとても自分に関わりのあることとは思えない。となれば必然、心情は過去への逆行を試みる。
The future must seem like such a foreign concept to someone like you. Your mind inevitably looks to the past.
しかし、所詮ソアの前のモアのように正常な流れの前には時間旅行は押し戻されてしまう。
But just as Moi, the lesser self comes before Soi, the greater self, the normal flow of time allows us to reject time travel.
それも私にあって君にあるものだ。
It's the same for you same for me as it is for you.
なんて無様な私。なんて哀れな。
I've done it again, haven't I? How could you possibly even begin to? Toko trailed off mid-sentence. As she pulled Sojiro closer, her own eyes reflected his. She noticed a merciful expression on her face. Sojiro got to thinking. He held no hostility towards this woman. He bore her no grudge, harboured no desire to kill her. He was aware only of his anger and his aimless compassion. He wished that he could give her the answers she wanted. But
あなたの言っていることはよくわからない。
I don't really know what you're talking about. Sojiro replied apologetically. A verbal reply to the visible question he perceived in her eyes. Toko showed no sign of disappointment. Instead, the corners of her lips turned upwards in delight.
そうか。君には言葉の暗示は通じないんだな。
Of course, you wouldn't comprehend. Of course, you wouldn't comprehend the language of
意
Magecraft.
味深なセリフ回しで丸飲みにしてやろうとも思ったが、いや失敗。小綺麗な建前は逆効果だった。君にはむき出しの原始的な語りの方が良かったんだな。
And him trying to wax philosophical to you. How foolish of me. Small courtesies can have the opposite effect, after all. I should have put it in plainer, more primitive terms.
いいよ。ますます気に入った。
Oh, I do like you, Sojiro. Her fingers dug into his throat as he was staring at the ladder. Perhaps it could be hers if she could only rip it off.
少年。青子なぞより私のもとに来い。
Sweet boy, leave Aoko and be with me.
使い道はないが保護ぐらいはしてやろう。手が空いた時なら気晴らしに愛してやってもいい。
I may not have a use for you, but at least I can protect you. Or maybe if I'm bored, you could be my plaything. Oh my. It had taken many approaches, but they seemed to have decided on this one. The lengths to go which to seduce him were not only lost on Sojiro, and truth to be told, they were not wholly unwelcome. Lady, that's way too much into you if she thinks this would work. But back to the matter at hand.
それはお断りします。
I respectfully decline. Soju chose a direct response as he did.
なぜ
Why?
だってあなたのためにならない。
Because it wouldn't be good for you. He had confidence in that at least. Toko's overestimation of him aside, Soju knew for a fact that he had to escape this woman's clutches. His tete-a-tete could only be concluded by one of the two participants, Toko, the individual she was currently infatuated with. I'm just wondering why she wants him this badly. Like, we're missing something, aren't we? On the hunch, the boy must have all the conviction him could feign. She gently removed her hand from her collar and jabbed him in the chest, causing him to tumble back onto the sofa.
そうかなら仕方がない。
Very well, if that's the way it must be.
君も青子の大切な持ち物として考えることにしよう。
I'll just have to think of you as Hoku's personal property then. The Scarlet Mage stood up, quietly stood up.
青子が帰ってくる頃だから私は行くよ。
Well, Hoku will be here any moment, I best be on my way.
青子では私には勝てないとだけ伝えておいてくれればいい。
She has no chance of defeating me. Tell her that for me, won't you?
それはいいんですけど。
Did you just want to steal everything that belonged to her sister? Maybe. I think there was more to it though. Because we know Soju is hitting something because he's hiding something. Because he was wrapped up in bandages and seemingly didn't look that well without his clothes. So there's still something about him that we don't know about. I can remember Alice also being confused at something and not giving us more info about it. So sure, but. Before she left the room, Toko paused to let Soju continue. Like a student humbly inquiring of a teacher, Soju pointed at the object in Toko's hand and asked,
そのカップどうするんです？
what are you going to do with the cup? Surprisingly, she looked down at the teacup in her right hand that she had forgotten that she was holding. She hadn't even realized that she was still holding the cup the entire time.
これせっかくだからもらっていく。
No, this. I might as well take it with me. The act of taking something without the owner's permission is commonly referred to as theft. However, this is more likely the typical relationship between Oko and Toko, share and share alike, and so forth. Soju nodded to show that he understood. And sure if his nod was sincere or not, Toko smiled at a gleeful grin for the second time since taking the glasses off.
やはり変わり種だね、君は。逸材かどうかは別の話だが。
You certainly are an odd one, the question of your worth aside. For just a moment she had returned to the affable Toko Aozaki met before the glasses came off. Leaving him with the image of a smile, she departed the mansion. Her broken glasses remained on the drawing room table. We're home! No sooner had the eerie visitor left did Oko and Alice return home. Despite Oko's sour mood, she seemed merry as ever. Despite everything that had happened at the trip, having its fair share of problems, she still had fun. Whereas Alice was her usual stoic self. The man who nothing like the parent falling behind a rampaging toddler cleaning up the mess. The scene of their return was like something out of a TV sitcom, and lost in thought, Soju forgot to greet him. Got more pressing matters, sir. Did nothing happen while we were out, Sojiro? Oko asked, most sort of etiquette and curiosity while removing the coat. Without answering, he stood up from the sofa.
そりゃ半日分の出来事はあったけど。
Yeah, I took up half of my day
それ
actually.
より寒かっただろう。お茶を入れようか。
Other than that, it was just cold. Want me to make some tea?
ああ、お願い。こっちも一から作戦練り
Why is he being so fucking nonchalant about this? Just fucking tell her what happened. For fuck's sake. You dense motherfucker. Yes, please. You can't plan anything without a hot cup of tea in your hands. Soju was on his way to the kitchen to prepare tea before even Adoga had finished a beat response.
なんだろう。どこか変だ。
Wait a minute, something feels off. He was following the same tea brewing routine as always, but something did not feel the same. As though in a trance, Soju returned to the drawing room where he was sitting down and placed the tea on the table. Or did his mind get wiped? Maybe it's that. What do you intend to do now,
とり
Oko?
あえず足で探すしかないわね。あいつ相手に守りに入るのは良くない。こっちが城壁を作ってる間に一個師団の人形をこさえかねないわ。
Have to search for him on foot. We can't play this one defensively. If we spend time fortifying defenses here, should this have more time to create more puppets? They conversed with each other while ignoring Soju's presence. Upon hearing what they said, he stood up and spoke abruptly.
探すって トウコさ
Oh,
ん
never mind. It didn't get right. Are you going to look for Miss Toko?
それ以外誰を探すって。
Yeah, who else would we...
ちょっとあんた今なんて言ったの？
Wait, what did you just say?
トウコさんなんだろ、青崎たちの敵は。
Toko?
さっきまでここにいたよ。
She's your enemy, right? You just missed her. He asked it so casually, Oko stood standing there dumbfounded. Alice stood up from the sofa and went to where the two of them were standing. A typical kind and summer features turned reproachable.
しずきくん、その人何かしていった？
Shizuki, tell me exactly what she did when she was here.
お茶を飲んでメガネを外して帰っていっただけだけど、あれ、よく思い出せないな。
I guess she does have some sort of mystic eyes that like wipe his memory or something. I don't know. We drank some tea, then she took off her glasses. I can't remember anything after that. But for once a clear memory seemed to have been scrubbed clean from his mind. Soji was overcome by the same dizziness he had felt earlier. A sharp, dry smack echoed through the room. That snapped him out of his haze with an unexpected slap from Alice.
二度は言わないわ。他人を私の家に立ち入らせないで。
I won't warn you again. Never let anyone else into my house. Deep within her eyes, beyond the normal cool indifference, was an intense fury. Realizing, however, that it was no ordinary anger, Soju understood how callous he had been.
すまない。アリスにとってここが大事な場所なのは分かってたのに。
I'm sorry. This place is very important to you. I should have known better. A heavy silence followed. Both Soju and Alice stood there, chained to the spot by their own regret. Oko looked on in amazement, wondering if he could stay this way all night if let alone.
あのね、姉貴を通した宗十郎も悪いけど、言ってなかった
Which
ア
has a
リスも
point there.
悪いでしょ。
So, hey, I know Soju screwed up by letting my sister in, but Alice, you never told him he shouldn't.
子供じゃないんだから、いつまでも反省してないで、もっと前向きに話をしない？
We're not children anymore, so how about we put this behind us and focus on the problem at hand, okay? Alice hung her head and stood back at Oka's insistence. Soju stood by her whilst nursing his stinging white cheek. Pain was pain, but he knew how to take a knock. More to the point, the crisp strike from Alice snapped him out of his fog, jogging his
思
memory.
い出した。青子じゃ私には勝てないって伝えておいてほしいって。
I remember. She told me to tell you that you have no chance of defeating her, Oko.
大した自信ね。他には？
Pretty full of herself. Anything else?
他は基本的に世間話だったというか、あ、ソアとかモアとかよくわからないことを口にしてたな。
She also said, well, most of it was small talk. To be honest, she said a lot of other stuff I didn't really understand. Considering the small talk was mostly about Oko and the flask, Soju decided it would be better to take that part to his grave.
タイガとショウガ？あの人、インドにでも行ってたのかしら？
She mentioned the greater and lesser self. I wonder if she'd been to India.
ところで宗十郎、あんた、姉貴に何かされたわね。
In case you didn't catch on, Soju, she must have done something to you. I returned to him, glaring sharply. You had nothing to be ashamed of, but you looked away guilty anyway.
何かって何さ。
She did? What did she do exactly?
思い出せないとか言ってたでしょ？さっきまでの態度もふわふわしてたし。そうか。メガネを外したまでは覚えてたってことは、魔眼にでも見られたか。
You said you couldn't remember what she said, right? And up until a second ago, you looked like a zombie. I see. You remembered right up until she took her glasses off, which means she must have been entranced by mystic eyes. But you were back again, Charlotte. You never said you were back. Hold up. As quickly as she jumped to that conclusion, Oko went quiet again, as the information was of little importance. But it was not enough to detract Soju from giving it up again.
青崎、魔眼ってなんだ？
Ozaki, what are mystic eyes? Well, I've mentioned it before, but I guess you're getting the explanation here.
魔力を帯びた目のことよ。簡単なものは一時的な混乱を、上級なものは睨んだだけで相手を殺すとかね。
Eyes infused with magical energy. Simple forms of mystic eyes can cause temporary confusion, while more advanced ones can kill with just a glance. Stuff like that. Yeah, there's like the bunch of ones. You can also see like people's mortality with it. You can also come oversimplificating things, but you also have Medusa's case where they can petrify. Stuff like that.
バロールみたいな魔眼の持ち主なんて伝説だけだろうし、そもそもそんな魔眼持ちが生まれてくるなら、私たちの悩みもあっさり終わるってものだけど。
Not sure what Bella's eyes supposedly should be, at least not right away, but... eyes like Bella's are just the stuff of legends. If there were eyes like that, we could really use them about right now. Without further context, our canoe explanation was completely lost on Sojiro.
そうね。
So, yeah.
わかりやすく言うと、私の魔弾みたいなのを目から照射するようなもんよ。
To put it simply, it's like my magic bullet. You only use your eyes to shoot it.
目から青崎か。
You can shoot bullets from your eyes? Sojiro's confusion deepened along with Oka's frustration.
だから、あなた、一度目を閉じた後のトウコの目を見たんでしょ？その一瞬で姉貴の魔眼に捕まったってこと。
It's funny how she keeps referencing to Toko as Aniki. Usually that's in the more Yakuza spheres, like Big Brother, like, you know, the boss above you, in a respectful way. Anyway, you looked into Toko's eyes after she blinked once, right? That's the moment she put in the whammy with the mystic eyes.
目を猫名詞に入れ替える魔術師もいるけど、姉貴はそんなことする必要はないから。
Some mages even replace their eyes with cat's eye stones, but my sister doesn't need to bother with
あ
that.
の人、生まれながらの魔眼持ちだしね。さしたる準備も栄唱もなしで、シャッターするだけで切り替え自由なの。
She was born with us. She doesn't even need to say anything to use them. She can just blink like a camera shutter. Sojiro pounded his fist in understanding. Now he thought about it, he vaguely remembered doing something exactly like that. Everything after was foggy and muddled, and the mystic eyes seemed the only logical cause.
その話は分かったけど、
That's one mystery solved.
トウコさんは青崎のお姉さんなんだろう。なんで姉妹で殺し合いをしてるんだ？
But Aozaki, isn't she your sister? Why would sisters try to kill each other? He knew it was not something he should ask, but he did it anyway. The question was against the rules. He had no business being involved in this dispute. Aoka closed her eyes and collected her thoughts. She decided it was best for all involved to at least share some background information, if only to head off further
いい
questions.
わ、話してあげる。姉貴に関わった以上、事情を説明しておかないと危ないし。
Fine. Here's what you need to know now that you've met her. Besides, keeping you in the dark would be more
け
dangerous.
ど、なんであれ聞き返すのはなしね。この件に関しては、私は私の事情を話すだけだから。
But no more questions. This is my story to tell, got it? She sat down Sojiro until he nodded slowly in recognition. Knowing him, she knew that this was confirmation enough. The conversation was becoming oddly friendly again, but Oko sat up a little straight where she prepared to tell the tale.
姉貴の話をするってことは、私と青崎の家の話と、何より魔術と魔法の話をしないといけない。
Before we talk about my sister, I have to explain the Ozaki family, and more importantly, Magecraft vs. Magic.
少し遠回りになるし、多言無用な内容だけど、いずれあんたの記憶は消えるから問題ないってことで。
We're going to cover a lot of ground and it'll include stuff you can't tell anyone, but we'll always wipe your memories later, so it's fine. Oko made sure that the disclaimer was conditioned for telling him the information in the first place.
魔術っていうのはね、宗十郎。いわば共通のルールなのよ。
You see, Sojiro, Magecraft follows a set of common
ル
rules.
ーンやカバラといった魔術系統は、それぞれの科目、世界共通のマニュアルだと思えばいい。
There are different schools of Magecraft, such as Runes or Kabbalah. Think of them as different textbooks or manuals the old world uses.
教科書さえきちんと持っているのなら、あとは血脈次第で誰でも魔術師にはなれるわ。
Anyone that has a proper textbook and a suitable bloodline can become a mage.
けど、魔法を使うのは別。
But using magic is something else
魔
entirely.
法は魔術みたいに根源の渦から派生した写本じゃなくて、根源の渦に直接つながるものだから。
Magic, true magic, isn't just some manuscript derived from the swirl of the root like Magecraft is, but something that comes directly from the root itself.
この根源の渦っていうのは、宗十郎の分かるレベルに落とし込むと、まあ太陽みたいなものと考えて。
As for the swirl of the root, well, the simplest way I can describe it so you'll understand is to compare it to the sun.
遠くにあって何より初めにあるもので、それなくしては私たちは生活できないと言った。
The sun is really far away, and has always been there from the beginning as far as we're concerned. Without it, you and I wouldn't be able to live.
魔術っていうのはこの太陽からの恩恵を利用しただけのものよ。
Magecraft mainly lets us take advantage of the sun's benefits, so to speak.
自然現象の模倣ないし代償が魔術の本質だから。神秘を学び実践し再現するけど、 神秘そのものを作ることはできない。
Magecraft is all about imitating or paying for natural phenomena. We can use it to study, practice, and recreate mysteries, but we can never truly create them.
いえ、研究の末にたどり着くんでしょうけど、そこには大きな壁がある。
Actually,
人知では越えられないリミッターみたいな壁がね。
Actually, no matter how much you learn, you'll eventually hit a wall. It's like a limit that human knowledge can never overcome.
で、魔法っていうのは太陽そのものを扱うこと。
And beyond that wall is where magic, the sun itself, exists.
誰にも到達できない場所に行って、
To attain it means to go where no one can go,
何者にも真似できない奇跡を起こす。
and awaken miracles no one could possibly produce. Hey, have you heard about nuclear power and stuff like that?
お金をかけようが時間をかけようが、今の人類には到達できない技術。それが魔法。
A technique to make things happen that humanity could never hope to accomplish without an amount of time and resources. That's true
次
magic.
元の壁を越えるっていうか、最後まで走ってみたら全く違うルールでできた世界があって、そのルールを学んじゃったってとこかしら。
It's about overcoming the dimensional wall, like running until you reach the end where you find a world with completely different rules from ours. That's the only way you can, well, learn it.
前に魔術に限界はないって言ったでしょ。あれは人知の及ぶ範囲なら限界はないって意味ね。
I told you before the Magecraft has no limits, right? Well, I meant that there's no limits within the scope of human knowledge.
対して魔法は限界だらけっていうか、一つのことしかできないけど、それも当然なの。だってこの宇宙の仕組みから仲間外れの一つっきりの交点なんだから。
Meanwhile, magic have lots of limits. Actually, it can only do one thing and one thing alone. Makes sense, right? I mean, we're talking about unique rule-breaking concepts and mechanisms that exist outside of boundaries of the very universe.
魔術より魔法の方がすごいというのは流れ的にわかるんだけど。
So, magic is more amazing than Magecraft. I think I get the general idea, but
限界だらけなんだよな。
it's really limited.
限界っていうか、特例、特権、越権の類ね。
Kinda. It's more like an exception, like a special privilege or an abuse of power.
汎用性はないけど、誰にもできないことを可能とする時点で魔術世界にとっては万能とされる。
It's not versatile, but making the impossible possible, it's all powerful as far as Magecraft is concerned.
そもそも魔法は根源の渦にたどり着いた魔術師へのご褒美みたいなもので、たとえその術者に魔法を使うだけの肉体性能がなくても、根源へのパスができただけで魔術的にはやりたい放題ってわけ。
Magic is like a reward a mage gets when reaching the swell of the road, and that even goes for mages who don't possess the metal to wield it. Just making a path to the root gives the free reign to use it in Magecraft terms.
要は
Welcome back again,
地
Charlotte.
球で一番のお金持ちになるってこと。
In short, it's like becoming the richest person in the world. Soju made an appreciative sound, impressed. On the other hand, Alice looked as though she wished to make many revisions to Orko's account.
一番の大金持ちか。じゃあどんなにお金持ちでも一番目でない以上は魔法はもらえないんだな。
The richest person in the world. In which case, does it mean that no matter how rich you are, only the richest person gets to have magic?
まあそういうこと。
I guess so, sure.
時々とんでもない角度で確信をつくよね、こいつ。あんたの言う通り、同じルート、同じ方法で根源にたどり着いても、一番目じゃないと魔法にはたどり着けない。
Sometimes you sure get right to the conclusion from the weirdest of places. It's like you said, there are many routes and theories to reach the root, but unless you're the first to the post, magic will elude you.
どんなに優れていても、2番目以降には意味がないのよ。
No matter how good you are, if you're not the first, you're everyone else.
魔法使いが5人。いえ、4人か。
There are only 5, no 4
現
magicians.
存する魔法使いが4人しかいないのは、一度使われたルートは閉ざされてしまうから。
And there are only 4 because once that path to the root has been taken by one magician, it's closed off to all the others.
大昔はそうでもなかったって話だけどね。
It wasn't always like that in ancient times.
根源への道、真理への到達に壁を作ったのは皮肉なことに人間自身だった。
Ironically, mankind is responsible for closing off the path to the roof. We built walls that stand between us and the truth.
未知を解明すればするほどルートが閉じていくなんて、昔の魔術師たちは思いもしなかったんでしょう。
The mages of old could have never imagined that the more we explored the unknown, the more paths we would seal off.
でも結果はこの通り。気がついた時には後の祭りっていうか、 多くの研鑽の末、この世から魔法は消えていっちゃったわけ。
But the result was exactly that. By the time they realized it, it was too late. After all that studying, true magic had all but disappeared from the world.
それは山と町の関係に似てると思っていいのかな。
Huh, so it's kinda like how the city has dwarfed the countryside then.
ミクロな視点で言うなら似たようなものよ。
In a microscopic sense, that example works.
で、つい最近まで現代の魔術師たちは残された最後の席を求めていたけど、それもちょっと前にどこぞの田舎者が横取りしちゃって、椅子取りゲームはあえなく終了。
So, up until recently, modern mages have been vying for the final seat in the game of magical musical chairs, but some country bumpkins snagged it a while ago, so the little race is over.
あとは魔法抜きで根源にたどり着くため、地味で無意味な魔術の研究を続けることになった。
After that, all further research into the root was limited to mundane and meaningless magecraft.
もともと魔法なんてのを優先してたのは一部の魔術師だけで、他の真っ当な連中はとっくに見切りをつけてたんだけどね。
There were only a small fraction of mages were chasing magic anyway, while the rest had already thrown in the towel.
だって魔術師にとって最終目的は根源の渦への到達であって魔法じゃないし。
Magic gained from reaching the swell of the root isn't necessarily a mage's only
そ
goal.
のあたりいつの間にかごっちゃになっちゃったんでしょ。卵が先か鶏が先かって話。
But that's a whole other convoluted mess in itself, the chicken or the egg dilemma, if you will.
よし、全くわからないってことは分かったんで、そろそろ本題に入ってくれ。
Okay, well, I at least understand how I understand absolutely nothing. Do you mind if I got to the point?
あ、けど一番目の人間しか魔法使いになれないのに、魔法使いは何人もいるのか？
Alright, how can there be multiple wielders of true magic if only the first one can learn it?
5人いたわ。最終的に人間に残される最後の課題は5つだろうって一番初めの。
Well, there were 5 at one time. There were 5 final tasks left to humanity, so the first...
青子。
Okay.
じゃあ本題ね。
Right, to the point.
魔法と魔術の関係が分かったところで、ようやくうちの話になるんだけど。
Now that I've explained the relationship between magecraft and magic, I can finally talk about my family.
青崎の家が代々魔術師だったのは前に言ったでしょ。
Remember when I mentioned that Awazaki family has been mages from
歴史
generations?
的には浅いけど、運と才能には恵まれていたのね。
Our history isn't ancient, but we've been blessed with good luck and
青
talent.
崎はなんだかんだって魔法にまでたどり着いたんだから。
Because somehow or another, an Awazaki finally attained true magic.
ちょっと待った。じゃあ青崎がその
Hold on just a second. Awazaki, so you mean?
私はあくまで魔術師見習い。
I'm an apprentice mage, nothing more.
使えないし、使う気もないわよ、魔法なんて。私はただ青崎の家を継いだだけだもの。
I can't wield magic, nor do I want to. I'm just a successor to the Awazaki family. Aoka asserted obtusely, her voice devoid of emotion. She became a mage not to wield magic, but simply because the succession of her family's magecraft was forced on her.
とにかく
Anyway,
根源の渦にたどり着くには何代も何代も魔術を研究しなくちゃいけない。自分独自の皮を作るようなものなんだから、もちろんその過程は果てがない。
in order to reach the swirl of the root, generations upon generations of mages have to dedicate their lives to research. Since every special snowflake is trying a unique approach and doesn't want to share it, obviously takes forever.
よほどの天賦か典型でもない限り、魔法を作るなんてできないしね。
At any rate, you can't create magic unless you have the innate ability to, or through some sort of divine intervention.
そしてもし根源にたどり着いても、ふさわしい後継者がいなければ、一代限りの奇跡で終わってしまう。
Just making it to the root isn't enough. If you lack of a worthy heir to pass it on to, the miracle stops there. So much for your lineage.
だから魔術師は血脈を重ねて、代々の魔力を時代に積み重ねていく。自分より優れた後継者を生むために。
That's why mages cultivate their bloodlines to pass magical energy from one generation to the next, and to create an heir more powerful than oneself. Oka wrapped up the explanation by remarking that it was like producing a thoroughbred. A thoroughbred. Not that Tojo meant what the thoroughbred was to begin with, leaving him perplexed at the end of the story was at the beginning.
そうやって代を重ねて、魔術師は作り上げた独自の神秘、守り続けた魔術を次の世代に伝えていく。きっと最後の最後に、全ての疑問を打ち消すに足る答えがあるはずだって。
So mages pass along their uniquely created mystics to later generations, protecting their legacy in the process. And at the very end they say that they should have an answer sufficient enough to satisfy all our questions.
でも魔術師、いえ魔法使いだってみんな悟ってるのよ。
But you see, mages, no, magicians too all understand one very important thing.
自分の代でもその次の代でもきっと最後の最後の最後まで誰もゴールにはたどり着けないって結末を。
Brothers and brothers royalty. I mean, you're not half wrong about that. Their own generation and every single one thereafter will all die before they ever reach their ultimate goal.
それを分かっていながら魔術を研究していくのが神秘学に取り憑かれた者の宿命だって祖父はよく口にしてた。
My grandfather always used to say that it was the destiny of those who obsess over mystics to end up only learning magecraft.
けど私の姉はそうじゃなかったみたい。
Funny how my sister didn't turn out like that. She left, I can see why, hanging in the air. Alice had no response. The Awazaki family passing down true magic. Naoko the reluctant successor. And Toko Awazaki, her elder
本
sister.
当は青崎の後継者は姉貴だった。
Actually, my sister was Awazaki heir.
私もうちの家業が何であるかは教えられてきたけど実践することはなかったのよ。
They told me about the family legacy, but I never had to learn any of it.
魔術師の家系はよっぽど裕福でもない限り基本的に一子相伝だからね。
Let me guess, the sister inherited the
ほんと財力的
wrong
には一般家
magic
庭レベ
circles
ルだ
and
し。
shit. For mage lineages, they're usually super rich. They usually only raise one heir. I guess it wasn't the case for an average income household like ours.
で後継者にはより魔術に適したものが選ばれるわけだけど姉貴は確かに天才だった。
Successors are supposed to be chosen based on their affinity for magecraft, and in that sense, my sister was definitely a
けど
prodigy.
それは青崎の後継者にはいらない才能だった。
But her talent just wasn't fit for an heir for whatever reason.
その代わり私は心底青崎の後継者としてふさわしかったみたい。
Instead, I turned out to be more suited to succeed it.
それはそれでどうも思わないけど祖父がはっきりと私にくら替えしたのが15歳の冬の頃でさ。
And while I don't really agree with him, my grandfather seemed dead set on switching it over to me during the winter when I was 15.
姉貴はいきなり4つ年下で今まで魔術に関わってなかった妹に魔法の相続権利を奪われたってわけよ。
To my sister, I suddenly stole her entire birthright, while not only being 4 years younger, but also lacking any magical knowledge.
そうか。それで。
I see, so that's why. Toko had said that she was obligated to take what was Oko's. He recalled how resentful her voice had been when she said it.
あの人がどんな思いをしたか私は本人じゃないから知らないけど
I'm not her, so I don't know how she feels about the whole
祖父
thing.
と言い争って今まで愛用してたメガネを叩き壊して家を出て行ったのが3年と半年前。
It's been 3.5 years since she fought with grandfather, smashed her glasses and left her home.
それから全く消息なしで私は姉の代わりになったの。これが
Oh,
私と姉貴の争う原因でしょうね。
no one has heard from her since, and I became a replacement. I guess this is why we're squabbling. Squabbling, huh? Surgery told the story was tragic, but August's voice had a tone of relief in it. Surgery did not know exactly who he should feel bad for anymore.
メガネを壊した。
She broke glasses?
そうあの人昔はすっごく目が良かった。生まれながら魔眼を持ってたって化け物だからね。
Correct! Her eyesight has always been perfect. The bitch was even born with mystic eyes.
祖父の期待に応えようとして無理して頑張った挙句視力が下がっちゃったみたい。
But in trying to live up to her grandfather's expectations, she probably overdid it and her eyes suffered as a result. Oko wrestled with the memory, not sure if she had everything down exactly right. So Junior knew how well Oko would hide her emotions, and this was not one of those moments.
けどあれに何の意味があったんだろ
You know, I had to think of it. Was Oko trying to give him a
う。メ
message?
ガネをジジイに叩きつけるぐらいならフィンの一撃でも叩き込めばよかったのに。
Why did she throw a glass at my grandfather? But you could have smoked him with a single fin shot.
あの人あの頃が才能のピークだったんだし猛録したジジイなんてそれこそ一撃だったと思うんだけど。
She was in her prime back then, so she could have easily wiped a senile old man out in an instant if she wanted to. So Drew shook his head, disappointed at Oko's misjudgment of the situation.
恨みつらみの話じゃない。
This isn't about a grudge.
そのメガネは大事なものだったんだ。だってそれは誰にだってわかる努力の証なんだから。
Those glasses, they were important to her. It was a symbol of all her efforts that everyone could see.
それを叩きつけたんだ。痛かったんだろうな、東子さんは。
To
思い
break
出
him
を
like...
自分で壊さなくちゃいけないくらいに。
Take a shot every time I speak to Sue. To break them like that, it must have been painful. Painful enough for her to feel like she had to break them. Soju spoke, neither Oak nor Alice noticed the grief he was fighting to hold in. Or more accurately, they could not understand the point of view. After all, in a world where mages were raised to fight other mages, empathy was in short supply.
けどどうして今頃になって戻ってきたのかしら。青子の言う通り、東子さんならもっと早く美咲氏を奪えたのに。
I wonder why she chose to come back now. Like Oga said, Toku could have taken Misaki City anytime she wanted to.
そうね。そんなに土地が欲しかったのなら3年前に私を殺せば後継者に戻れたのに。
That's right. If she wanted this land so badly, she could have come back 3 years ago, killed me, and reclaimed her rights.
世間の荒波に揉まれて気が変わったとか？
Maybe she had a change of heart after seeing the world. I don't know.
違う。青崎は本当にわからないのか。
You really don't get it, do you, Aozaki? Soju shook with a faint anger. His voice changed from the boy they thought they knew.
何よ、あんたならわかるっていうの？
Oh, when you do.
誰だってわかる。
Yes, like anyone would.
東子さんは青崎が一人前になるまで待っていたんだ。自分が失ったものと同じくらい大切なものをなくさせるために。そうしないとどうにもならない。そこまでしなくちゃいけないほどあの人の怒りは深かったんだ。
Toku was waiting for you to become a fully fledged mage so that you would lose the same thing that was stolen from her. That's how deep she is hurt and hatred. That's how deep her hurt and hatred goes. Soju gazed at them, wondering why they could not see what he could. Only, he was the one who did not understand. The two girls, and above all Toko Aozaki, denied themselves the type of relationship that other normal people are like to experience. Toko's actions were not fueled by hatred. Well, there certainly was hatred behind them. The real reason was and always has been Toko's pursuit of true magic. She was an ambitious and talented mage. Her hatred was only veneer. Thinking of her in any other way would be an insult to the elder sister who devoted her life to the study of magecraft. All of this Aoko wanted to tell Soju, but instead stopped herself. Even if she had, Soju was not a mage who could never understand. And besides, arguing with him any further would not have brought her any joy. She could not have put it in words even if she tried. And so...
やけに姉貴の肩を持つじゃない、宗十郎。
you sure we're taking a side a lot,
も
Sojiro?
しかして一目惚れでもした？
Could it be a love at first sight? In her own cowardly way, Oko dodged the subject. She smoked childlessly.
肩ぐらい持つ。あの人はかわいそうな人だからな。
I get how she feels. Lil, I pity you. Soju did not take the bait. Aoko was frustrated at his reply.
なぜ？
And why, I might ask? An icy hair replaced a smile. He did not falter, only plainly stating.
だって実の妹と争わなくちゃいけないんだろう。
Because she has to fight her own sister.
それはかわいそうなことじゃないのか。
That's sad, isn't it? This was the source of his frustration.
確かにね。
It's sad, alright. Aoko's eyes narrowed unconsciously, as if hiding from a painful truth. The skies are poison, she thought to herself. A poison with no antidote, which is worse, it was unwittingly bringing her weakness to light.
だけど私も姉貴もそれを何とも思ってないのよ。
My sister and I, we don't think of it in that way
だ
though.
ってそれ以外に解決策はないんだから。
To us, this was always the way to turn out. Soju looked down her front and feet. And that is sad too, he muttered. The curtain of night had already fallen. Not even an hour had passed since Toko left the estate and Soju was feeling the distance between him and the girls. Aoko and Alice felt much the same way about Toko Aozaki, who seemed more elusive than a phantom.
とにかく姉貴が敵だってことは宗十郎にも分かったでしょ。ならつべこべ言わず君子危うきに近寄らずよ。
I believe it was a typo that was probably intended to be disguised a fish? What? Why? There's an antidote for his poison boom headshot. Bruh. Anyway, Sojo, you at least understand that she's her enemy, right? If so, stop arguing with me and get let sleeping bears lie.
姉貴もあんたと会って私たちとは全くの無関係だって分かっただろうから そっちには手を出してこないでしょうけど。
Although, after meeting you, she must have realized that you have nothing to do with this, so I'd hope you don't need to worry about her going after you. Nah, you know she will. Aoka seemed absolutely certain in her assessment, as if to proclaim that Soju had dodged a bullet. Strangely, Emma's placing her trust in her enemy sense for some reason.
そうかな
Of reason.
そうなのか
I don't think he's safe.
なそうだといいんだけどな
Really? You sure about that? I hope you're right.
そうだから安心なさい。昔からいらないものには手を出さないんだから、あの人は。
Yeah, but you missed the point. If she gets to him, you're probably going to be, be affected, you know? So, Really? So relax. She never made any intention to things that were of no use to her anyway.
そっか青崎がそこまで言うなら安心する
Okay, if you say so, Ozaki, it's good enough for me.
あいらないものって言えば瞳子さんが青崎のティーカップをもらうってセーブルのやつ
Save it. I guess it works. Alright, speaking of things she has no use for, Doku took one of your teacups, and I severed one.
ちょっと待って。
She did what?
あんた、それを黙って見てたっていうの？
Hey, just took by a ladder. I mean, she could easily kill him. Come
そう
on
だ
now.
けどやっぱりあれは奪っていったのか
I did. Shushiri was stealing it after all, huh? Soju nodded sagely while Oko fumed. She wondered why his serious manner and tone had gone. Soju's frustrating absent-mindedness had returned.
しかもセーブルのカップって私の一番のお気に入り。
And to be the Saber Cup too, my favorite one. Oko's fist trembled violently, but as much as she wanted to, she knew better than to plant in the soldier's carefree face. I hinted to help you. Not that he was even capable, but Soju did try to stop Toko. If it would go, but even if Soju did try to stop Toko, it would have gone tragically for him.
仕方ないか。そういえばあの人、よく私の持ち物を奪っていったっけ。
Nothing to do now, I guess. She did always have a habit of stealing my
他
things.
人のものを欲しがる癖、まだ治ってないんだ。
Always wondering what others have. I guess old habits die hard.
子供の頃はみんなそうなんじゃないのか
Isn't everybody like that as children? He wondered aloud curiously.
そうかな。私のクレヨンとか人形とか取っても仕方ないと思うけど。どうせ粉々にしちゃうんだし。
Maybe. So many of my crayons and dolls she took as she pleased, and broke them too. Soju felt his heart jump into his mouth. The ominous foreshadowing was not lost on them.
それはどういう
Why do you think that was?
だから、あの人って私の持ち物を横取りしてはぶっ壊すのが趣味なのよ。苦節14年。姉貴に目をつけられて無事だったものなんて一つもないもの。
Because she made a hobby out of taking my property and smashing it to pieces, obviously. Why she had her eyes on something, I had to kiss it goodbye. Listening to Oko, Soju recalled his own conversation with Toko. He hoped he wasn't imagining it, but he vaguely recalled her declaring Soju Shizuke as someone's property.
それはちょっと難儀だな
That is troubling. Soju's face turned grim, not unlike a detective at the scene of a crime. A scene which left no traces of evidence or clues as to how the case would be solved.
でしょ？
Yeah, I
ひ
saw
どい
them
姉貴
smuggles
なの
today.
よ、あの人って。
I mean, I don't think this is going to be going much longer. It's been 2.5 hours. I don't think this chapter is going to last another hour, is it? Right? She was a terrible sister, the worst. When the mouth of Soju was to a mole, Oko calmly sipped her tea. Soju was as Oko shrugged his shoulders before looking over to the drawing room clock. No matter how heavy the mood, time kept on ticking.
明日から大変になるね
Gloomy days ahead, I guess. Muttered the undeniable victim of today's injustices. Oko looked ready to move on from the incident, adding,
そうね。でも今は、そんなことより今日の夕飯のが楽しみなんだ、私。
Probably, but right now I'm just looking forward to the night's dinner. Alice seemed to second his opinion with a silence. Comfortable and relaxed, neither of them seemed to have any intention of leaving the sofa to prepare food. Tonight was supposed to be his night off from work, at least until midnight. But Soju knew that until the clock struck midnight, he would be serving on hand and food to the ladies of the house. For one, it would take at least another hour to prepare something to eat. And there was no way the exhausted Oko and Alice would stand for that, so the only other option, in the end, was to have something delivered.
なんと瞳子さんについていけばよか
Oh
ったか
no,
もしれ
speaking
ない
of capitulating. 5-hour chapter is on track. No, don't you jinx it. The longest we went was like 3 hours. Maybe I should have taken Toko up on her offer after all. Soju opened his wallet as he second-guessed the situation. His eyes settled on the third and final 10,000 yen bill in his wallet. Is that back at him forlornly, reluctant to leave his home. With a heavy heart he bid it farewell. This looks like a good ending. Maybe? Yeah, it's correct. Oh, would you look at that, huh? It's like chapter 10. Didn't this game only have like 12 chapters? Let me double check that. Let me double check that real quick. Nintendo World reports that it's a 12-chapter visual novel. Okay, so you're telling me there's 3 more chapters left, which really has me confused because on the box art of this game there's still a bunch of characters that we have never seen before. Like 3 of them or something like that. Like, not sure what's up with those people, but I guess we'll meet them. Alright. That might mean maybe 3 more streams. Maybe. We'll see. But that's gonna be it for today at least. Hope you all enjoyed. Stuff is happening again after all the, well, slice of life stuff, I guess. We'll see when I continue this. Maybe tomorrow? Very big maybe though. Very big maybe. If not, just on Friday. But we'll see.